Speak, Heghmoh. Speak for me.
Speak.
One more time.
Woof. Woof.
Okay, good
Woof.
boy. Good boy.
Woof, woof, woof.
How interesting that today I turned 24 and then the 24th episode of the Lord podcast is recorded.
Happy
Oh my
24th
God.
birthday, Dex.
What? Dex is only 24. No way.
Yeah,
No
we're
way.
gonna call that the start. Welcome in everybody. Welcome into the 24th episode of the Blurred podcast. And first and foremost, before we get into anything, it is Big Dexy P's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dexprozius.
Oh my God. Happy
Oh.
birthday
Oh God.
to
I wasn't
you.
prepared
we're
for
not,
this.
I thought we were.
I wasn't.
I thought we were just going straight into.
Cha. Okay. Yeah. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, I'm old as shit. Fuck.
We're all old as shit, so you can't really complain about that one too much. But
I'm older than Shiraj. That's all that matters.
you got any big plans for the birthday to celebrate?
I'm just gonna hang out with some boys after this and play board games and drinks.
Sounds fun. Sounds great. On another topic, we also have Mr. Vire here with us today. Welcome in, Vire. Welcome back. Thanks for coming in on short notice because we actually thought we were going to be down someone today, but now we're just up one. So we're net positive. Thanks for coming, Vire.
Yeah, no problem. Always a pleasure. I'm just waiting till my voice robot's out. My connectivity with Discord, apparently, I robot out at least once a day.
Well, that's okay. We'll just
Beep, bop, boop, bop.
we'll just edit that out and then edit the rest of whatever you say out, and we'll call it a good episode.
It's pretty presumptuous for you to claim that you're gonna edit when I know you won't.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm not gonna edit shit.
It's actually somebody came into my chat recently, was like, "Hey, cool, I found you guys from the podcast." And I was like, "Yeah, that's nice." And he's like, have you guys ever thought about like putting links to your channels in the description? Because like it was really hard to figure out where.
See, I purposely
don't market the podcast.
I purposely don't include Heghmoh links because I don't want competition to my stuff. Like, there's only room in this town for so many streamers, you know. So
we do job guides 4 times a year, and he does prime weapons 3 times a year. So,
dude, I put out fucking 38 videos last year. I don't want to hear anybody saying that
23 Blurred podcast.
Yeah, so that means the rest of them were were guides.
I do. I've recently, my new content strategy is just like manic content production, where I don't do anything. I don't do anything for 3 months, and then I make 5 videos in 1 week.
That's a great idea.
And then, like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Just space them out. You know, just launch one like every other month. You're good.
My approach to content creation is the same approach that Mith has towards Limbus.
No, nice.
I've been pretty good about Limbus. In fact, I've done like 3 climbs this week. So dang. I don't want to brag or anything. I don't want to brag or anything, but unlike last episode, I've actually been playing this week. So
nice.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of anything, but we should get chess tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, Vire, how's your Limbus journey going, Vire?
Slack ass about it recently because like I hit the point where I need more units than I do matters. Like I have all the matters I need to R30 my earring, but it's just like, oh yeah, you need like 5 weeks worth of unit cap. Good luck, buddy.
Are you not doing I-135?
Because like I hit the unit cap that I had, but then once I started to not hit the unit cap anymore on climbing, I turned it back up. But yeah, it's still like a 5-week gap.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Even if you do all your chests, it's one of those. It's kind of like Gallimafree and Starstones, right? Where like the first few matters you get are huge because like you don't need very many units, you don't need much Gallimafree, you just need like 10,000 Gallimafree to do your upgrade. You need, whatever, a few thousand units to do your upgrade, so you get it, and then you move on to the next thing. And then by the time you get to the end, as like the 25 to 30 range of the augment, you end up with too many matters, and even if you've been capping units every week, you're gonna have to farm extra weeks of units. So either way, you end up unit starved. So the most important thing you can do is just try to keep your units up as uncapped as possible.
It's funny because
Uncapped or
mine have been
uncapped?
like nearly capped the entire time, and
Yeah.
I've been really bad about spending points.
Yeah, I mean, if you run into a situation where you are opening chests and not getting units because you hit the unit cap, like you're blowing units, and like that's bad. So like you want to try to keep it from hitting that point. It's a
Mm.
weird balance.
So what you're saying is Vire is ahead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
The less
What a-
units you have, the better. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
heard it here first from Big Heghmoh.
It's not a unit.
So we have some really cool stuff that we want to talk about today. The first
But
thing,
before we get to that,
what's up?
I want to wish everybody who listens to the Blurred podcast a happy holiday that we've neglected to mention.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm really bad about that. Happy
Yeah,
holidays.
since
Happy New Year.
last podcast,
Year.
we had the whole holiday season. So yeah, happy New Year.
Last
Welcome to
podcast,
2026.
I made a mental note. I was like, make sure we tell everybody Merry Christmas, and then fucking didn't do it. So Merry post Christmas, guys, and Happy New Year.
Happy Festivus.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors that 2026 is going to be called the year of Blurred podcasts.
I've heard that too. In fact, we're starting
Yeah.
it off strong with
Yeah.
not only a guest but also a very desired topic today. So we're going to be talking about the Mythics, but before we get to that, we have our
Exciting.
first email and only email today. Thank you, Hirsch from Odin, for sending us an email. And he asks, do you think Square Enix would ever update some of the technical back end of the game? I know they've talked about fixing up play online, but do you think they'll fix more of the glaring technical debt in the game itself, possibly updating the game from DirectX 8 so that the game would work on systems without things like DG Voodoo? I feel like so many people bounce off the game because of these basic technical issues. It has to mean significant loss in the potential subscribers. If Square Enix spares even one engineer to fix these issues for a year, they would easily gain back the money and increase subscriptions. Maybe that coder's time is more valuable on 14, but it certainly would be worth at least some effort to tidy up 11. At least make it so the nameplates aren't stretched on widescreen monitors. Square loves updating Besieged. Think of how Besieged might actually be playable with 56k data cap. From Hirsch and Odin.
Valid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, very valid.
I think that like it's really hard to say. It's hard to predict anything about what they'll do. They did recently say like there's the talk about doing updates to play online, which I think that may be overhyped. I think like what they said is fixing graphical issues and stuff like that, where people weren't even able to open play online and it would just load blank or something like that. So that's the kind of stuff that they're focused on fixing. But like they did say this year, a couple months ago, when they did the big Amen Live that we got excited about, that they're working on finally moving to updated like dev platforms and moving away from the dev kits that have been hindering the game for so long. They talked about updating their entire like development architecture essentially to be more current gen, using like newer softwares that are industry standard now, like like Maya and all this other stuff to be able to do future updates. I don't think that means they'll move away from DirectX or do a DirectX update necessarily, but it's at least a movement in the correct direction. But who knows? Who knows where they'll go with it?
Yeah, I think from everything that I've heard, they are working in that direction. So
I heard a lot of talk on the
Mhm.
forums about certain AI tools that are now pretty common that they could use to create models and stuff that would be a lot easier than what they've had to in the past. So I mean, there's a lot of hope. It's just, will it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean we can speak a little bit more directly to what they said because we have a letter from Fujito about what they announced for this upcoming year.
And
Personally,
boy, that was. I said, "Who boy, that was a doozy." I'm
yeah,
excited.
Yeah. Personally, I don't know. I think they'll put in like effort on the back end of the game, and I think they'll try to clean up some stuff. But I don't know how much they'll put in or how much they'll be willing to. I think part of in the developers' minds, I wouldn't be surprised if part of the nostalgia factor was kind of the fucked up graphics and stuff like that, because
Uh,
a lot of people like come back and they're like, "Oh yes, this is exactly how it felt in 2002," and it's like exactly like you said. There's like a squat Galka and like a 4:3 ratio, and like just you
Well, the
like
thing is, like, I know that they've changed some of the client stuff recently that to support other resolutions and whatnot. But technically, like, if you're playing by Square Enix's rules, you're using the Play Online client and you're using all that other stuff, like, uh y- you don't really have the same issues that I think a lot of the issues that creep up is when you start doing weird resolutions that aren't supported anyway, and you do like you have maybe multiple clients running for some people. Like, that's when a lot of
I don't know
the
who would do that, but
yeah, issues
yeah.
pop up for some
Mhm.
people. And so I could see Square Enix being like, yeah, I mean, it only runs on CPU, but it's a really low load, so it shouldn't be a problem since you're only running one instance of this 22-year-old game. You'll be fine. Like
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping to see some stuff, but and I have hope. The getting off of the PS2 dev kits was a big note of hope for me personally. So maybe we'll continue to see stuff. But then again, I also have no idea how computers work. So don't
yeah.
trust anything that I say. Just listen to
Yeah,
just
me either.
oh man. Um you guys want to dive into this letter here?
Hell
Let's see.
yeah.
Was that our only email?
That was our only email, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
do I get
Okay,
to
cool.
yell at our viewers again?
No, you could not do that. Um,
I'll refrain.
But it's his birthday. Let him have it.
that's true. That's a really good point. Really, really good point. You can yell at whoever you want.
God damn it! Give
Dex.
us some more emails right now.
Actually, I think one email an episode is a really good balance.
That's a good number.
I
Having 6 to read is a
so
little.
yeah, so if anything, chill out with the emails.
No, 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 no.
Okay, let me pull up this letter from Fujito. That is not it. Okay. So we have a Happy New Year letter.
It got sent directly to us.
And yeah, that's crazy. It was actually published in English, right? It wasn't actually translated from Japanese. We got it straight from the source from Play Online. And it's all about 2025 content revisions. Have you guys had a chance to look at this yet?
Hell yeah! I
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
excited.
Vire, have
Not
you had a
even being.
chance to look at this?
I skimmed it once, and then I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Man,
Wow, we got a whole spectrum of excitement here.
humbug.
For real. I'm really excited. So
All
I
that
think that it's
2026
some cool
stuff is
stuff
so
that I
hype.
didn't expect.
Yeah.
the first section is about Limbus renewal. And obviously they've completely redone Limbus, much to some people's dismay. And
Present.
to some people have also enjoyed it, including myself. I kind of enjoy
Fire.
it to a degree. But they are planning on doing more. I've heard that they're going to be adding NMs to Limbus. I think when they said it is the tiers, but well, obviously this week we have the armor and the gear that's coming
Yeah.
up. So that's a
But that's
big
already
change.
in the game. Not available
Technically
yet.
already in
Right.
the game, just you can't get it yet.
Right.
So I still don't understand what I can't parse what they're saying with this Limbus update thing about adding notorious monsters to high tier battles or something. Does anybody understand what they're saying?
Let me see if I can. Okay. So this is what we're referring to is a thing a little bit further down from the top. It says
Yeah, the
about
stuff
halfway
at the top
down.
is all like recap,
Yeah.
like recap of what was done in 2025.
Yeah, so this says
But
adding notorious monsters to high tier Limbus battles. These notorious monsters are extremely powerful monsters equivalent to tier 3 found in Limbus. So tier 3 found in Limbus, that means to me Omega and
Ultimate
Ultima, right?
Omega. Yeah.
I recommend that you team up with a good sized party in order to take it on this challenge. So it sounds like they're just going to be adding Omega and Ultima level mobs to Limbus. And
Yeah, that was my understanding.
in what way, shape,
But
or form, we have no idea.
yeah. So like the thing that's weird to me about that is that they added Ultima and Omega to Limbus.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like so like are they adding a battlefield version that's like when they say high tier battle, I think high tier battle mission battles, HTMBs, right? So like are they doing an instance version that you can go fight with a fixed party instead of a server version?
Are you
I
thinking they're
don't
gonna
yeah.
like make a whole new line that's equivalent to high tier battlefields, but call it high tier Limbus battles? Is that
I
kind of like
no
where your
idea.
brain is going?
I mean, I like if they're adding NMs that are equivalent to either they're going to add roaming NMs that are tier 3 equivalent into the open
Which
Limbus,
would be
which seems
hilarious.
insane.
It'd be so funny.
Or it's like an instanced version
Yeah.
of those battlefields, because then like if you're not part of the wave that comes through and kills them the week they pop,
hmm
your link shell could get together and still do the fight and maybe get a direct reward from it since it's instance. I don't know.
I just think it'll be additional tiers of go into Central because you guys have checked off all these boxes and there are new NMs to fight. I don't think it'll just be those. Like I think there'll be the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 to get to Ultima Omega, but I think there'll be new things as well.
Okay.
Because they had said previously that there was only a certain percentage done of Limbus.
Yeah.
And
well, there's
this
one more
update,
update they said.
yeah, there's one more
Yeah.
update.
Weren't they gonna
So
upgrade the level of the mobs, like the normal mobs, like the slider?
they never claimed that. We
They
hope
didn't?
so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was really
The
hoping they'd go up to
135
like
was a
150.
surprise.
Oh,
I hope
okay.
it goes to 150, but they never claimed.
Okay.
I think that's that and the eye level increase and then the like artifact and relic +5 are two things that like people say so often that we can't tell if we made it up or if they ever said it. Like it's just one of those things that we keep saying and it's just hopium, I guess.
I know they
Well,
never said +5. That's just been a speculative
right,
thing.
right. And to be honest with you, I don't
Also,
think we need +5. What's up, Fire?
wasn't +5 speculated because of some data mining that found like a text typo or something?
Well,
That
there
might be it.
weren't some of the pieces, like some of the gears pieces that were like the ninja pieces or something, the ninja boots. They were originally like they were listed as +5 instead of +4.
Yeah.
It was more than one set, and then some
Yeah.
sets had no plus on them
Yeah.
at all.
And then we just found out that there were 8,000 typos in all of them. So, so it's not a big deal. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure
Someone
the
wrote +5. That means +5's confirmed.
null mask is still broken.
Yeah.
5 PMs per week.
And
Oh man. Yeah, so look forward to +5 in the future. We've confirmed it via typos. But going back to what they're actually going to be changing over this year, once you scroll past to the kind of recap, they start going into strengthening alter egos. Their overall goals for the 2026 are expanded solo play options, revitalizing existing content and character leveling adjustments, and auto group improvements. And they start, the first specific one is strengthening alter egos, where they say we will make significant adjustments to the trust magic system in order to provide a more enjoyable solo play experience and also let players participate in a wider range of activities. So what do you guys know about this new trust system that they've been talking about? There's a little bit more details under where I read, but you guys have already read this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they were adding equipment slots like puppet automatons or something similar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I know they said previously that they're going to do two different phases of updates to Trust, and I'm assuming it's like part one is the like ability to augment your trust thing, and then later maybe they're going to add the gear system in, where you can manage some level of gearing that kind of acts like they reference automaton attachments, like Vire said.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's hard to speculate on what exactly they're going to do, but it's more than I expected. I'll say that.
I'm excited to see what content they revamp to include these things in, because they said we plan to make the equipment obtainable from existing content or making crafting systems for it.
I mean, I think the crafting systems are a great idea. And I'm curious to see if they like create an all new like line of items for the trusts, which I kind of hope they don't do, or they just
I
decide
have a
to.
feeling
Mhm.
a lot of people go straight to like, oh, equip your trust, so I can give it to my Dardabla and my Yallarhorn and my
No,
Lona
that's
Shed,
not going to
and
happen.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think you're going to
Right.
give existing gear to your trust.
Mhm.
I think there was speculation when we read it on the other day when it came out. We were talking about it on stream, and somebody suggested, they were like, well, they said they're also adding new NMs later. Can we just assume that these new M's are gonna have exclusive drops that are just for this trust augmentation system?
That'd be
So
interesting.
I'm assuming it's gonna be like entirely new items that are added.
That's crazy.
Well,
I think in
Go ahead.
a way that they confirmed that Puppet Master is their favorite job by modeling the trust system
Why did I
after
let you
the
Not
well,
only their favorite job, but perhaps the best job in the
perhaps
game.
not even perhaps just the best job in
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dex, I'm sure you have something to say about that. What were you gonna say?
On my birthday.
Oh man.
I feel like they're gonna add a whole bunch of crafting stuff to like everything. Like give people reason to go back and do Omen more, go back
Mhm.
and do other pieces of content. You now get to drop a purple crystal, and you can use purple crystal to craft trust crystal A, and if you slot trust crystal A, it does healing more better, you know?
Mm.
I like the idea that all these new NMs that we haven't talked about yet that they address, but
Mhm.
there's gonna be new NMs everywhere, and they might have something to do with it. I hope
Uh,
it's not exclusive to the trust system,
yeah,
but we'll see.
that'd be interesting. Vire, you're a big pup guy, aren't you? You excited about the new trust puppets?
I'm not. I've leveled pup and I have like I don't know 3/4 of the attachments. It's kind of an interesting job, but as far as I'm aware, in the current era, the puppet's actual like response to maneuvers leaves much to be desired, and I don't know. I do like the idea of having like trust unique gear so that like you're not doing ridiculous things like people have long speculated, like giving Rimas the trusts. Um,
That would be
although one
hilarious.
back like a few years ago, I was just like, imagine how bad it would be like you summon the trusts and you train the gear, and then they only have the gear for that summon instance.
That'd be great.
That'd
Just
be
give them temporary gear. Like make it like besieged temp items where you can just buff your trust for one fight. Or better yet, make the Hawksney set for your trusts so that
Nice.
every time your trust does damage, it consumes 10,000 gil.
Of
Yeah.
yours? Oh
Yeah.
no.
Hell yeah.
I'll never sell trust again.
So moving on from trusts, they speak about expanding battle contents. We already
Hell
talked
yeah.
about the high tier Limbus battles, TM. They're also adding new high tier mission battlefields, and I've seen a
I
lot
called
of
it.
speculation, probably because of this picture that's noted under here.
It's not
That
speculation.
have
Well, they say it explicitly. Yeah.
did they say
Explicitly. explicitly said the
originally
regular.
sold as downloadable. Oh yeah, they did. Okay, so adding high tier mission battlefields based off of the downloadable expansions such as Crystalline Prophecy, Mughal Coup d'etat, and I'm blanking on the other one.
Shinto Ascension.
There you go.
Shinto Session. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hell yeah,
that'll be exciting
that Mughal
stuff.
fight was not fun at 75.
No,
it was hard.
It was really hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
curious-
remember doing them. I remember the Mughal fight. That's in I can't remember. And that's the one in the castle.
It's in the throne room.
Yeah, in the throne room. I
The
remember doing
Crystalline
it.
Prophecy is against this huge crystal in Dogfoot Tower, and you would walk up and it would like summon clones of your characters and fight you and charm.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember bringing like rangers and stuff
Most
for that.
easily done with ranger, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so those should be some fun fights. And then
I haven't done those DLC scenarios on my main or any
Well,
like on anything.
if you
so
haven't done them,
I can do it again.
Recently, and he
Now's
was
the time
like,
to do it.
"I've never done these, and now I'm gonna have to go do these to do these fights."
Yeah.
It's bullshit. I'm like, they take 2 hours, dude. Just go.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you haven't done those, now's your opportunity to do that and get ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Before the new null armor comes out. Because that's what I'm speculating is they're gonna finish the null set. And I have no idea. I'm just making stuff.
I want to hear your speculations here. Do you think they will allow you to? What the hell's happening? It's like yelling in the other room. Do you think they'll allow you to augment them like they did with the other pieces?
Gear from the high tier battlefield?
Yeah. All the old gear pieces, from those add-on scenarios were like the Merke and like all the other stuff that was you'd get the piece of gear and like the Moonshade earring. You could choose an augment or 2 augments or something. So they were super flexible in terms of their use, but I don't know.
I don't think they will. I think it's one extra step that they're not going to put into the time into developing. Personally,
I think my speculation is that everything is going to be, because just knowing how they operate, they focused on just Besieged for a year, and then everything was about Limbus. So my assumption is that all of the stuff in this list is trust system. So like this gear, whatever they drop is going to be for trust augments and trust gear.
You know, I'd be okay with that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe like give at least like one thing that a player can chase if like they don't want the trust gear, but I'm 1,000% okay with them focusing on making the game more solo player friendly. I think I said this in my Discord the other day. I think a solo player should be able to do a V15 Odyssey clear. I think that's a reasonable thing to expect at this point in the game. And I wouldn't be upset if like some person went up through V15 Odyssey and like maybe a solo basement boss or something as a newer player in Sortie.
Well, that definitely sounds a lot more plausible with like upgraded trust. Because it's already pretty plausible for like really decked out people. So it only takes a little bit, right?
Yeah. I think that would be a fair point to help people progress to. It's not like the people that are doing 9 boss Sortie every day are going to care too much about buffing up their trust, except for like maybe as a side hobby, but making it stronger for the new players so they can catch up to the people that are doing those 9 boss runs would be really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to do it because I have to complete everything in the game.
Yeah, that's speaking of mastery rank, Vire, are you also on this mastery rank train?
Very slowly.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in doing pretty much everything in the game, but like I don't have the obsessive drive to be like, oh yeah, today I've got to do like 100 row objectives. But
today I've got to farm 10,000 mocap.
Like a few months back, before Hoxney stuff came out, I say a few months, it's probably like 6 or 7 months actually. There's a link show member of mine that was obsessed with mastery rank just to be obsessed with it. You know, when it was the highest was 8 or whatever. And then chasing Yield began, and they're like, this sucks. I hate Void Walkers so much. And I was just like, bro, it's not that bad. And I went and I farmed Yield began pops for them. I I got them their shadow deal began within 6 black besides. And they're like, "How the fuck did you do that? You're a wizard." And I was just like, I did the content.
There you go. I don't know.
I
I'm
have
not a
to
big
disagree with
Voidwalker
you.
fan.
I have to disagree with you. Voidwalkers do suck, and sometimes it takes 6 hours or 10 hours to get your black abysite. It's not fun.
Okay, so on top of high tier battlefields, they're also adding a story replay feature.
This is
That's
interesting.
something.
I mean, I don't know why you would want to, but then at the bottom they say, we want people to explore different paths and branches, so we might introduce bugs. So we're going to take some time to implement this. And we also don't know why people are going to do it, so we might have to add a reward to it, which is kind of what they alluded to at the bottom.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hoping they increase the difficulty, or at least make the difficulty like adjustable. And then
like an actual new game plus,
right, yeah, like make it like level 170 Shadow Lord, and make people like actually group up for Shadow Lord, or the airship fight would be fucking super fun.
Yeah,
these days, if you
It wouldn't be
needed
airship though. From what they've said, it's just the 3 nations.
just the 3 nations. Okay, then Shadow Lord or any of those other fights.
I mean,
still
it would be
fun.
cool if it was if they did a new game plus version that was eye level, and then like maybe at the end of each nation chain that you repeat, instead of getting a CP bonus, you get an exemplar point bonus.
That'd be cool. I would do that just for that.
Yeah,
that'd be worth it, because there's like nothing to boost exemplar points still, and it's been out how long now? Like years.
Years.
That'd be a great idea. Just, each leg of the nation you complete adds a permanent key item, like 2%.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I believe weren't the original nation chains that aren't they 10% each for CP?
Yeah, 10% for
So I expect 10%.
I would hope for 10%, but I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I'll take whatever I get.
Yeah, for real.
Heghmoh has spoken.
Yeah. Well, as we know, the devs watch Heghmoh, and they queue off of what he says. So
very true.
The next part that we have are environmental improvements, and I'm really excited about these, especially integrating home point and survival guides. So they've decided there's too many warps finally, and they've decided they're going to start looking at trying to combine some of these, so you don't need to run to 23 different NPCs to get to where you're going. They're going to try to combine home points and survival guides. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's a huge quality of life improvement.
I as like a new player, I've seen new players come into the game frequently, and like one of the it's one of those things where it's like there's so many teleportation systems. There's home points, survival guides, there's unity warps, there's void watch warps, there's like all these other things, and people, it's like just make them one thing. Just make all the survival guides into home points.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I'm glad they're finally doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If for the new players, it's much clearer. It's like, think about how many times a day you go to North Sandoria, one, to use the survival guide right next to it to go to a survival. It's like, just take that step out. Every time you do ambuscade, just go straight from the Mahura's home point to wherever. I don't know. That's going to be a great quality of life change.
That's the biggest thing right there. Going from a home point to a book to go somewhere, as opposed to going somewhere. The best hubs are like North Sandoria, Nashmau, Eastern Adulan, that are right next to each other.
Norg's pretty good. Yeah.
I think what I'm getting at from this is any zone that has a crystal next to a book will just be the crystal now.
Yeah.
There are zones with like 2 books that merging it into a crystal wouldn't make sense. Like Kadarva Mire is a good example. There's 2 specific books.
Yeah.
I hope that like they basically just turn any survival guide that's not directly next to a home point into a home point, and then make any, like, just make that the next number in the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if it used to be a HP 5 as the last one, add home point 6, and that's where the survival guide was.
I think they're going to remove the clutter of things next to each other, but also it seems like they're going to just have the option to go between systems.
Mhm.
Because at the
Yeah.
bottom, the plan is to create a system that merges both new and existing goals into a single path. Our first step will be to start to simple merging the teleportation function with home points and survival guides.
Yeah.
So in one menu, you could go to anything.
Does the survival? I haven't actually used a survival guide for whatever it is that they're actually used for. Do they like? I know that grounds tomes give you buffs and objectives and stuff like that. Do the survival guides simply just act as teleportation points?
They're just teleports, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, survival guides were added in pretty early in the game's life, relatively. Like, was it Wings of the Goddess when they were added in?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I
Somewhere
think
around
so.
there.
I think they were added like before home point teleportation was added.
Are you talking about
Yes.
ground tomes or survival guides? Because weren't they added separately?
Yes,
Groundstones
groundstones
were-
were
Wings of
added.
Valor is,
Yeah.
is different from survival guides. Survival guides also predate Fields of Valor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because the Fields of Valor was around for a long time, as like
Yeah.
an extra XP bonus thing, and then survival guides were added on top of that.
Man, and when Fields of Valor came out, just
Mhm.
as a side, it was like, oh my god, think about
was
how
so
much
different.
faster you'll be able to solo. This
Yep.
is so fucking.
Yeah. Another thing that's kind of paired with this, at least I think it kind of is in my head, they're improving the character growth guidance for new players. So they're
Yeah.
expediting the starting process. It looks like they're gonna redo like the tutorial.
Well, the tutorial sucks right now. Let's be real.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
As a
Anything
new player,
to
how do you know where to go?
yeah. BG Wiki is the tutorial.
That's
Or-
dumb. I mean, like, you're right, and I think players should be taught to go to the wiki as much as possible.
yeah.
But from a like a new player perspective, that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, no, it really
Man,
does.
I have a few thoughts. There's like, there's other examples of games, which I'm not saying we should go this route, but I recently played some Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 actually, the in-game menus integrate into the wiki. Like they just like, okay, the wiki's a better resource than we'll ever make. So here is,
That's crazy.
if you like, you can click on something in game and it pulls up the wiki page for you in the client. But
That's actually crazy. Wow. I don't think
I
Square
don't
would
think
ever
we'll
do
ever
that.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get that, but that is pretty cool. And then I don't know, like I think that I've met people who came back to the game or started playing the game for the first time, and they get to like, they're doing the original sub job quest, and like, hey, can anybody help me get a Domal saliva and all this other stuff? And people are like, oh, do Rhapsodies instead. They're like, what's that? And then it's like, oh, you go into your records of eminence. They're like, oh, I don't have that menu. I'm like, you're level 20 and you haven't started records of eminence? Like, because it just doesn't tell you unless you know to look for it.
And it's
So,
such free EXP and items and stuff intended to like.
well, that's also how
have
you
an
get
alongside
trusts.
playing. It's
That's how
supposed
you
to
get
give you
trust.
for
Yeah.
free to level with. Yeah, trust too.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important resource they've added for new players, but it doesn't point you there. You're right.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Yeah, BG Wiki, like, can I do another PSA really quick? Because I've said this, and I know every time everybody just says like, "Oh, don't use ad blockers." Do we know any any of the administrators for BG Wiki? Can we get rid of the super malicious Norton antivirus ad? Like, it's been there for 2 months now.
I don't like the NordVPN ads. Get them out of here.
Get him out of here.
It's a Norton antivirus thing that's like a full page redirect to an ad that does a fake scan of your PC for viruses.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been there for months.
scammed.
So for the last little bit of the letter that we have, it looks like they're making improvements to the development and administrative environments. And honestly, I don't know what that means. So we should probably read this.
That is, I think that's reference to what we were talking about earlier, where they're like changing some of the tools they use,
right.
moving away from dev kits and that kind of
Right.
stuff.
So they're
They're
making
going to do it
updates.
really. They're going to do it really simple to avoid risking like service in any way.
Yeah, so updates that fix issues with Play Online Viewer, certain hardware developments, and improvements to the tools used to manage various resources that make up the game. So that's really cool. And it sounds like they said they've postponed UI related quality of life features because they want to work on this stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
I'm
did
cool with
say that they were postponing the Blue and Puppet Master sets changes, which they announced recently that they were working on, and they want to do the base level backend stuff for stability first.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, so I would hope that that means that there will be more quality of life stuff coming once that happens.
Yeah, I hope so.
Cool. I guess we should go ahead and dive into the topic of the day, since
Hell yeah.
we've hit our obligatory 1 hour intro time, and we are now ready to move on to the Mythic tier list. I'm excited for this one, guys. I'm
The
really
Mythic
excited
tier
about this.
list.
Yeah,
Do we have a tier list made?
I have
I
one.
don't know if you.
I
Okay,
have
cool.
one.
Do
Can
you have
I?
the link for it?
Maybe. Let me see. Here, I'll just I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you as we go. What do you guys think
Okay.
about the Mythic process? As we were talking about this last time, do you guys think Mythics are the worst
Absolutely.
Remus to make?
Yep.
Empyreans are the worst.
No, Mythics are worse.
Empyreans are
100%.
so much worse.
Hard disagree.
I will fight you.
Mythics, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mythics are kind of bad to make, in my opinion, because of
Yeah.
the content process. Because they involve a lot of content. And I like doing content, but the 30,000 Alexandrite for me is always really steep, and then they're followed by Betets, which is also really steep, and I'm not good at making gil. So
I mean, Empyreans are also very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the difference to me between the two is that like Empyreans suck and it's a lot of busy work and it's a lot, and like depending on the Empyrean that you're making, it's better or worse if you have to do Glavoid or Chloris or whatever. They can be really terrible to do, but like it's one process. You know what I mean? You kill your NMs, you collect your items, you go to Abyssia, and then you do the augment, and then you're done. You just have to brace yourself for one thing. Whereas Mythics is like 7 different things you have to do, and it never ends. It's maybe like technically easier, but I feel like it feels worse to do.
you know, like the Mythic content process, like it's all Urggon, but you get change of scenery, like with Empyreans, which I think Empyreans are easier to make. But, you sit in Abyssia for hours, and like it's like 3 different Abyssia zones. But like Tarongi Canyon to Ottawa Chasm to Altepa Desert, it's just like sandstone, sandstone, sand.
I'm not a fan of Empyreans. The NM camping is so miserable. It's just so time consuming. And then
But is it
how long you have to do an Abyssia is horrible.
Is it more time consuming to you than all the stages of a Mythic combined?
I think so.
There's no way. You're doing it wrong then. Sorry.
I don't know. They're both pretty terrible. So I think I have some hot takes for the Mythic list, but I think we should start off just by going down the list. Yeah. And the first one on the list is a Conqueror. What do you guys think about Conqueror?
Conqueror is a cool macro.
It looks very sexy. Yeah, what Dex said, good macro piece. But in the current age, warrior like has to make a weird set for it, and then it's not really that good.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal. That's for sure. But I'm trying to think of a way to manufacture why everybody should make it, because I have one and it looks cool. And
Well, I can do that for you.
What's that?
Do you play warrior? Check. Do you use the button berserk? Check. Get a conqueror.
That's not always enough for me. In fact, there's very few instances that I actually go out of my way to macro it on, to be honest with you.
You're just ruining the weapon.
No, I know.
I'm gonna down now.
I know.
If you say another bad thing about it, I'm gonna drag it down again.
So for me, the thing that makes it good is if you can sacrifice the extra defense loss and you get that, you can make use of that extra 8% attack. And because we're often like capped attack already, outside of like Odyssey bosses, there's not a whole lot of uses. So this might be good for like if you're not buffed for like swordy basement bosses, if you're not attack capped for that might be good. I've used it for like Zevioso or Ngai fights where you want the extra attack, and as long as your healer's not bad, you can survive without the defense.
Isn't it just better to use Conqueror to stack with Defender because you get a net positive?
Yeah, you'll get a 2% defender or defense boost with Defender, and you'll get like 18% with 18% attack if you use Berserk and Defender at the same time.
But tanky as shit, boy.
Yeah, it's a good thing to use for that, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not something I would go out of my way to make unless I mostly did it for the lulz personally.
Yeah, I think that Conqueror, unfortunately, like I've made this recommendation before. If there's a new player coming to the game, 2026, they want to play warrior, Conqueror is like probably the last weapon I would recommend they spend their time making, because like the effort for the return is just not there. They get more out of an Empyrean axe, you know what I mean? Like they get more out of nagling.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's a cool lock style piece. It looks cool. But it has a very, very, very niche use case where it's gonna really shine.
Yeah. For me, I'm putting it the C tier because it has at least one use case. But other than that, not a whole lot.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I would personally put it in D because it's kind of like macro only.
Well, are you rating this with an F or no F?
With an F. Should I delete an F?
Yeah, I don't have an F on mine.
I'll delete the F then.
Okay.
And I'm cool with it in C then.
Perfect.
I would say, like, I also want to point out that the Mythics are also kind of weird in that their aftermath is strange, especially for two-handed users. Like, don't you get like a lot less of a return from the triple damage or triple attack round than you do like compared to other options, like from the triple damage or something, because of how it like interacts with your double attack and all this other stuff?
Well, yeah, because double attack is going to proc before the triple attack, or the occasionally attacks thrice. So for warrior specifically, you're not making use of that a lot, because your native double attack is going to be like 33%, if I remember off the top of my head. So you immediately lose 33%, and that's even before gear is factored in, to like your ability to occasionally attack 3 times. So when you're like making a conqueror build, you got to do really janky stuff like use triple attack, and that way at least you're not losing off of double attack. You don't want double attack gear in your set because that will lower your attack rounds and stuff like that. So it's just weird. It's unfortunately just doesn't parse well with warrior specifically.
It's a victim of its era, right? Because when Mythics first came out, they were occasionally attacked twice, and the Aftermath 3 was a 40%, occasionally attacks twice. And for with actual stats, that was huge at the time. But as the era's gone on and gear has let us get so powerful and have so much double attack, it's a victim of its era.
Yeah, 100%. I could totally see that. And I think it's also like, I don't know. I think that as things have changed, at the time when they came out, you also couldn't get to 100% double attack as a baseline for warrior. So like the advantage of the triple attack, the trade off there is lost.
Yeah, absolutely. I think C tier is okay just because it's essentially a macro piece and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's not a weapon you would use.
Yeah. I have tried a few times and it just feels
I'm sorry.
Next up we have is Glansfaust. So I'll let you guys take it away with that one.
Oh boy.
I think to me it's the exact same weapon as Conquer. It looks really cool. And I really want to make them just because I want cool spiky fists, but I don't think that it really does too much else for Monk. It's
Wait, I
not,
have a
not gonna give
counterpoint
you
to that. Like, who's to
okay.
stop you from making a cute spiky fist weapon to lockstyle with?
That's true. Yeah. Having to make a mythic is what's stopping me.
Yeah, comparing it to Conqueror, you wouldn't even macro this for what is it, dodge or is it the other one?
It does focus and dodge. It basically gives focus an attack boost and a crit hit rate and an accuracy boost. It gives dodge, guard, and evasion in addition to what it has as a base. So it augments both dodge and focus.
I guess the focus buff is pretty nice, specifically for the crit and attack.
But yeah, like, compared to, not that everybody has access to it, but compared to the crit hit rate you get on Varga, it's not even remotely worth the trade off. And again, like, there's probably, I get this wrong every single time I talk about hand to hand and attack, multi attack, but I'm pretty sure there's some sort of weird interaction between how Monk works with multi attack and main hand offhand kick attack, where the multi occasionally attacks thrice interacts with that in a strange way.
I'm understanding that it only works in the first hand,
Yeah.
which is dumb.
Yeah, they balance hand to hand as if it were dual wield a lot, which is really bad for Monk. But the other bad thing about Glansfaust is that its trigger weapon skill is absolute shit.
Oh yeah, Ascetic's Fury. Yeah.
Fury, like it's not good. Like it's not good damage. It doesn't have unique skill chain properties that are unique enough for hand to hand to like really shine through. And the trade-offs you pick for it, especially like very recently, a lot of monks, high-end monks, are talking about needing a Hoxney Ampula now to have 100% double attack.
Yeah.
That
Well, you
doesn't
don't
jive.
need it, but it is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
they don't need it, but people are just like, oh yeah, I have that now, and my monk is amazing
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Comparing it
I
to
mean, I noticed
Conqueror,
some
I
crazy fun
feel like
ones
the
to do.
Conqueror buff is stronger than the Glansfaust buff.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
much more attack versus a little bit of attack and some crit and some accuracy.
So we say
100%
D
this
for
is D tier.
Glansfaust?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
D tier, it maybe has some lock style applications, but other than that, there's not much reason to make it.
I'm predicting Conqueror to be near the bottom of C tier and like Glansfaust being one of the only D tiers.
Now that I'm looking at the icon up close, it kind of reminds me of those spiky turtles from Super Mario. So I could see the appeal for the lock style for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm. They do.
Next up we have a big one, Yagrush.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes, dude.
You're super sexy.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Yagrush is overrated.
Yagrush is okay.
Yagrush is overrated. You heard it here first.
I think it's a nice quality of life.
I agree.
I think way too many people scream "Why white mage only," and it's not necessary.
Yeah. It's good. It's nice to have. It's convenient. I think the thing that's really helpful about it is if you're doing like a melee sortie method and your DDs aren't capable of panaceaing or remedying themselves. That's like the best case for it. But it's completely possible to play white mage to an extent that the community does not admit without this weapon. And I do most of my content without a Yag Rush. I have a Yag Rush on my main character, but I very, very rarely actually use it. That being said, it's nice.
I think it is a really great quality of life thing for a white mage. You know, like you can't always expect everybody to be carrying around stacks of panacea, all this other stuff, and so just the AoE like Gnaw spells is just super nice, and it does have a huge effect. I think there's plenty of ways that you can work around it. You can be a fantastic white mage without it, but I think it is a very nice weapon. I would recommend almost any white mage to get it, at least to have in their arsenal.
Yeah, if you're a main white mage, you should get it. But I would never tell anybody to feel bad for not having it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the problem that I'm gonna always nitpick with stuff that is more popular like this is not that it's bad by itself. It's just that the general community outlook on the weapon is kind of overrated and needs like to be brought down a peg. Like, it's a great weapon. You don't need to have a fucking Yag Rush for ambuscade. You know what I mean?
I mean, I would say that I would almost say that about every single mythic, though.
That's true. I mean?
Like
but I
the
think
way that, like, even Karnwen Hunt, like Karnwen Hunt's the same thing. Like, it's not going to stop you from doing Odyssey segment farms or anything like that. Sorry, my chair just like released the lock on the tilt back, and I almost ate shit while I was in the middle of sentence.
It's so funny if you fell in the middle of talking. You're like, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I think Idris, Yag Rush, and Karn are probably three that definitely fall victim to that trap, based on community standards.
Longer than the other two, but that's for. I guess that's another discussion.
I would still put Yag Rush in A tier though. I think it's great. I think it's worth getting. I think it's far better than a lot of the other options on this list.
I agree with that completely. I think Yag Rush is like maybe top of A tier. It's definitely like one of the best on the list. What was that?
It's the top of A or bottom of S. The white
I'm withholding S for a special case. Personally, I've got something in mind for S tier.
Something up his sleeve.
Now that we brought this up, are we including the Urggons in the Mythic because they're kind of one and the same?
I do have the Urggons in here. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What about Mystic Boon? How does Mystic Boon fare?
Well, you see, with that is that you just don't do it, really.
Are you using a weapon skill as a white mage?
I mean, why not? Why the hell not? I think more white mages should be slamming stuff.
You might need to fix your mic there, buddy.
You're cutting in and out.
You're breaking up a lot.
And you seems like you're like 10 feet away from your mic. But I don't know. I think the fights where you want to bring a white mage, you typically don't want to have your white mage meleeing for like very good reasons. Like if your white mage is meleeing Lashawn and gets silenced, it's gonna be a problem.
But like, what if you're just doing Limbus runs?
If you're doing Limbus runs, then absolutely. But in that case,
how's
just use judgment. Yeah, Maxentius is really good.
Okay.
I really like the Prime Club, but that's not a reasonable ask. So, but yeah, I think Yag Rush is great. I definitely A tier, and I think we're ready for the next one.
A tier plus, but not S.
A tier plus, but not because it. Yeah, we'll talk about what exactly makes the S tier when we get over there. So we had White Mage, now we have Black Mage. So the next one is Levitain.
I like Levitain.
I like Levitain too.
Oh yeah.
I think it's really good.
Which icon is that? Is that it's the little
the staff with like the little club on the end of it?
Okay, yeah. It kind of looks like a little.
It looks like a hammer.
Yeah, a hammer. Yeah, okay. I've heard that it was contender for best black mage weapon, um, even compared to Bunzi Amarapi and all that until you got up to Wizard's Rod territory.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, no, Levitain is great. It's the second best staff. I think the Prime staff beats it out. And you still want to use the staff on Black Mage because it's your way to manage your MP. So I'm not a big fan of the Bunzi and like Wizard's Rod on Black Mage. Like you can work, they obviously do great damage. But if you don't have MP because you don't have Merker, then you're not going to be doing damage.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Merker,
so,
strong.
What I do like is I think Black Mage is often like forgotten about when it comes to melee stuff.
Yep.
And obviously this is a great staff to use for like skill chains and things like that.
I know that we kind of were talking about this recently because I recently mastered my Black Mage doing Maxentius Kraken Club offhand dual wield Black Mage exclusively.
Yeah, I was really disappointed.
I know you were very
but it's fine.
pro staff
Yeah.
instead, but I was using the resources I had available to me.
Yeah, the resources you had available, which weren't playing Black Mage, you were just playing modified Blue Mage with no magic.
I was playing Club Warrior as a Black Mage, but yes.
Yeah. Black Mage can do a lot of cool stuff with melee stuff. So I think and this staff definitely can play into that and do a lot of damage.
The weapon skill is quite potent.
Yeah.
It often is used in certain fights. Like I remember, I don't think it's really common to use it anymore for Ongo, but I remember in earlier like tiers of Ongo, it was very common to see a Black Mage start the fight with Veto Hunter, and then you would close that with Let In and make a Darkness, and then start off ripping.
Yeah, so when
you also want to keep your Aftermath up, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so when we did my V25 clear, we did open it up with Veto Hunter, not for the magic defense down, but because it's skill chains with Let In. So we'd open Veto to Let In and then burst Impact right off the bat.
But you do it with like 2900 TP to get a fat magic attack bonus stat as well.
Yeah, you kind of play that line of not getting AM3 because you want the magic attack.
You want to
the interesting thing about the Mage Mythics is that their AMs are different than the melee ones at 1 and 2 stage.
Yeah, so they have magic augments.
Accuracy and attack.
Yeah.
Different tiers.
Yeah. Cool. So I'd put Levitain, like it's not on the level of Yagrush, I don't think, but it is really good. And if you're a main Black Mage, I would get it. I'd probably say it's B tier.
That's where I've got it.
For me, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's B because it's, a strong weapon. It's not the best for the job in that the Prime probably puts it to shame, but only barely.
Yeah, just barely. I don't think it beats it by much. There's a ridiculous amount of mab on Levitain. So
especially if you can AM too.
Yeah. If I had a Levitain, I don't know if I would bother making a Prime staff unless I was just really, really serious about Black Mage.
The one thing that's sad about Levitain is that its unique effect of boosting Elemental Seal to boost magic damage 10%.
Oh, interesting.
That's almost never going to get used because most of the time you're using Elemental Seal on a debuff like Impact or Burn.
But your Impact can do 3,300 damage instead of 3,000 damage.
Nice.
So that's big right there.
Bricked up. Bricked up.
I mean, I was going to say before, like, I'm almost the opposite. Like, even if the Mythic staff was at the same tier as the Prime staff, I would make the Prime staff just because it would mean I wouldn't have to make the Mythic. So I'm like on the other end of the spectrum from you. I think Myth.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, I think for the average player, it's probably going to be easier to make a Mythic than a Prime. So
fair.
That's kind of.
I think majority of players
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe not everybody does Galca Sortie every day, 365 days a year, and
They should.
they should, yeah.
Yeah, I did over. I've only missed like probably 5 days of sortie this year. So I did all my double runs. So I've probably done 350 sortie runs,
Oh my gosh,
which is crazy.
I haven't done
Disgusting.
Sortie in a month, and I gotta say, I feel great. Yeah. It feels
That's
good.
more sorting than I've done, Heghmoh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Dex does more Sortie than anybody I know. But
Apparently not.
yeah, apparently.
But I've missed like my fact doesn't like if we have to do a free day, everyone rejoices. So not every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know anybody that'll complain except for Dex about not doing Sortie for a day.
I would like to go every day, but I go on trips and stuff, and then there's a week gone.
Yeah, it's worth it though. Get outside and see the sun every now and then.
Grass can hurt you. They're called blades.
It's a great
No?
point. Okay, so next up after Levitain, we have Mergleus. We're just doing all the mages right off the bat.
Nice.
So Mergleus is the red mage sword. Death Blossom, unfortunately, is aged very, very poorly.
Trash.
But I've heard Mergleus might be the best magic accuracy for red mage.
I think it used to be.
Really?
I think it still is. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it still is.
It might still be. It's really close.
What other
even if
option are you thinking of?
I think it beats Contemplator, right?
I believe so.
Let's say it's the best. I think in majority of content, you're not swapping your weapon off, which takes points away from it.
Very true.
Or red mage already has so much accuracy that if they're not going to be able to land it, then they're doing immunobreak stuff anyway, so it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Isn't it the highest when you have the AM1 though? Right? Like you have to have the AM for the highest.
I won't contend with that whatsoever, but I also think that's not a reasonable thing to ask. Like, I don't think anyone's going up and Death Blossoming to get more accuracy so that they can land.
Oh, you don't carry Frontier Sodas and plan your Death Blossoms around
I do carry Frontier Sodas and I don't Death Blossom.
Okay.
And I never will.
The thing about it is basically it turns convert into an elixir. Like when you convert, you don't lose any HP. Your MP bar.
Yeah, that's the good part about it.
Yeah, that is a nice little macro piece there.
I think the crazy red mages will carry it specifically for that, and then some red mages will make it and use it for accuracy, but I would say most red mages don't swap it for accuracy. They have their gear pull the legwork and they keep their weapon on so that they can utilize it for TPing or whatnot.
Yeah. Speaking of the lock style of it, Mergleus is a crazy cool looking sword.
I think
cool
all
looking, yeah.
All the mythics are good looking. All of them.
They did good with all the mythic models.
They
I
did.
agree.
They did. But when I don't have anything else to compliment it on, I'm going to compliment it on the lock style of it all. So it's the same thing I did with Conqueror. It looks cool. So make it for the style points.
If I were to compare Mythics to other weapons on the same tier list, I would put Mythics one tier above everything else, specifically because of the cool factor.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. Mythics are super unique in all the things because one, they look really cool, and two, they have as opposed to most of the other Rima, they're job specific and not like weapon slot specific. So, they all augment specific jobs in cool ways, which gives them a leg up in a lot of ways. I would rate them all a little bit higher just because of that. I think that's how they should have designed everything to begin with.
I agree. Like, I don't hate that they've gone back to weapon does unga bunga damage and it has these jobs on it, but like, I think every other prime or every other Rima, Prime, Empyrean, Mythic, all that shit, every other one should be more job tailored. That would have been a nice way to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of unfortunate that I feel like they put in the most thought, not only into the mythic tier or the mythic weapon line, but also like treasures in general. So I
Yeah.
think ever since then the desire to do as much work as that and invest as many resources as they did with treasures has probably fallen off quite a bit.
As a quick aside, I think everyone agrees with me. If we were to make a expansion tier list, would treasures be at your top?
No.
Really?
Yeah, Heghmoh is a real Moogle Kupo to Ta stand.
That's a hard question because like Treasures is so good, but then like I'm such a big 11 fan that I love all the stories a lot.
What's your
Okay,
favorite
you
expansion then?
can't pick your favorite child. Like, stop it.
just
I
pick
think
one.
that like treasures is cool.
I hate Shet's Content Ascension like with a burning passion. I don't like it at all.
Treasures is cool, and I think it was like a certain vibe, and it was like, you know, in many degrees what people would consider like the pinnacle of the 75 era.
Sure do.
But I think that like as an expansion in terms of like every time I like, because I've played through all the missions multiple times on different characters and different playthroughs and stuff, and like every time I do treasures, I can't wait to be done with treasures. Every time I do Adeline, I'm like, holy crap, there are so many cool systems in Adeline that are just not talked about anymore or just taken for granted. You can chop down trees and use them as bridges. That's cool.
Boo.
Boo? So,
So back to Mergleus. I think for me, I think it's a C tier right underneath Conqueror.
I would put it above Conqueror
Above
because
Conqueror?
you can utilize it at magic accuracy tool.
Have like genuine utility, but
Yeah. You're getting robot on us again.
I don't know what you said, Fire. Sorry.
it has, I mean, it has, I think you said something about utility.
Yeah. It's definitely got a bit of utility. Arguably a little bit more than Conqueror. I can see that. So I'm cool with putting it above.
For me, I had a
Cool.
bottom of B, but I could see it being a top of C.
I don't know if it deserves to be a B because it's just like such, it's a macro piece, you know?
Yeah. I'd say C is good.
From that perspective, like even if you're not using it for convert, you're still macroing it to do a debuff, and then that's all you're doing. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You've convinced me. I'll drop it.
Okay, and then the last one on this list we have is, or not the last one. I don't know why I said that.
I was like,
yeah,
"What? Did I black?"
I was manifesting. I was like daydreaming about when I don't have to like constantly look back in fear that my dog is like chewing on my shoe or something or digging through.
You
a
missed
wire.
the part where you missed the part where Myth was like, okay, Amber Carmen, death penalty, gas found, all those are B. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So next up is Vajra.
Moving on.
I don't
wait,
think.
Which one?
All right. Vajra is the thief dagger, and I don't think
yeah.
Vajra is as bad as.
No, it's not.
I think it's better than a lot of people give it credit for.
I agree with that.
That being said, I don't know why.
It has really fucking competition.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you this. When I came back to the game, my first Dynamis Link shell, someone insisted on doing Vajra Thief instead of anything else. And his sneak attacks would do like damage cap, sneak attack weapon skills damage cap, and that's when that wasn't common. Is that good? Is that worth it? I think overall, most people would tell you that doing like Twashtar, like good weapon skills all the time, is better than just like sneak attack, trick attack, fat here and there. It's definitely cool, and it leans into like what Thief should be doing, but until they make sneak attack and trick attack like 5 or 10 seconds, or just overhaul Thief, I don't see this being better as an option, especially now that Impu Gandring is really fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't ever be mad if a thief pulled up with Vajra, but I don't think if I played a thief, I would go out of my way to make it, especially not before like M2 or Twashtar.
I would not be mad if a thief showed up with Vajra. I would be mad that they showed up on thief.
I mean, I
Oh
think to that
no.
point, like if you're gonna play thief, see there's a bad. I think there's a bad like connotation, preconceived notion with thief because it's such a popular job for returning players. 90% of the time when somebody's a returning player, they say, "How's thief?" You know what I mean? Because like they remember the glory days of the party arranging in a configuration that was entirely built around doing sneak attack, trick attack, shark bite, because it was like crazy on for those few levels, you know, and thief being super valuable for treasure hunter and whatnot. And like the way the game's designed just doesn't allow for that anymore.
Right.
But I will say that if because like thief is a new player, you know, friend, like the job that all the new players want to play or returning players want to play, it has like this, you know, generally the people that play it don't have the same amount of effort or time spent in building out their job and the gear and stuff. So when you do have a Vajra thief show up that's like stage, you know, like fully augmented, complete Vajra, and they've got all their gear kitted out, then like then you there's a little bit of like, okay, cool, you put the effort in, at least you're like a true end game thief, you know, you've got all the
Yeah.
options in front of you.
I
So
don't
that
hate
there's something to say about that. Yeah.
It's a pretty good dagger. The weapon skill associated with it, Mandalic stat, is also pretty good, especially with the skill chain properties of fusion, which is pretty rare on dagger. And then the aftermath effect, uh, like you'd think it might be bad because it's getting chump blocked by the natural triple attack rate, but it's because Thief can't reach 100% triple attack anyway. It's just like basically a second dice roll to make sure they get more
Oh,
triple attack.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, thief peaks out at like 60-70%, right?
Yeah, if they stack all gear, but like if they do that, then
They
they're
lose DP.
kind of TP. So like it's kind of like one of those things where like their theoretical gearing is really high, but like physicality they don't.
Yeah,
I know
for
thief
sure.
TP sets struggle to maintain DT cap, and most have to sacrifice something very valuable to keep DT cap.
So where would you guys put Vajra?
I would put Vajra. I'd unfortunately put Vajra in C.
Really? Do you think it has more like use than Conqueror and Merglace though? Because it's not just a macro piece, right? Even though Twashtar and the other pieces like
in a vacuum, it's better than those weapons. And I would probably put it higher on C tier than those weapons because it's not a macro piece. But in practicality, if you're on Thief, you're better off using other weapons.
I kind of want to put it on B because I feel like the same could be said for Levitain in some ways. Like maybe Levitain has a smaller like gap between it and the prime stuff, but the same
like
thing kind of
primes out of the window. Levitain is far and ahead the best. But if you take primes out the window, Vajra's like, I'm funny for making it. Let me have fun.
Okay, yeah,
but wait,
fair.
it does look really cool.
That's a good point, Heghmoh. I like how you're thinking there. Maybe
it's probably the coolest looking dagger.
I think.
Yeah, I think
I would say upper C or lower B, because like I think you have to remove Thief's shortcomings from the equation, and how does it play for Thief? And I think for Thief it's a B.
In a vacuum, I guess if you're looking at this as just Thief, it would be probably the bottom of B.
Yeah, I think the way that you stated the Levitain versus Vajra convinced me that C is an acceptable choice.
Yeah, because like Levitain to Black Mage is much more powerful than Vajra is to Thief.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it, at least.
Right. I think we can go ahead and move on to the next one. This was my very first mythic that I made, and this is Big Burt Gang for
Birdie
Paladin.
boy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Burt
Burt
Gang.
Gang. Shout out to Burt Gang because it's good.
Shout out to all the paladins that have done all of their weapon skill trials using atonement.
Hey man,
Shout out.
I know that it's terrible, but I don't think it's that bad because you can get in a groove, right? Like once you figure out the atonement formula to killing worms in Abyssal Athane, like you can cruise through that.
Shout out to all the paladins that grew up in the 75 era getting this for free from their link shell, bastards.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I can't say that I know many
Excalibur 2.
that did. Yeah. So Burt Gang is like, to me, how I talk shit about Yagrush, about how you don't need it for anything. I'm gonna say it almost is exactly the same as Burt Gang, but Burt Gang does a little bit more than Yagrush does for the job.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think there's much that you absolutely need a Burt Gang for. But once you have it, it is a significantly like different experience. It definitely makes the job easier. Sword. Yeah. It is the best sword for Paladin. Atonement gets really, really good with it. It turns Atonement from like an okay enmity generator to a really good one, especially once you've
And I feel like
it.
To me, that's the sign of a paladin. If a paladin has mastered their enmity control, then they're a good paladin. You know what I mean? Like if we're doing Dynamis Divergence Wave 3 and I'm not tanking on Warrior and there's a paladin in the group, I feel like they've mastered paladin at that point.
Sure. But to be honest with you,
and atonement helps with that.
If we're in Wave 3, and you're on Warrior, like blasting the Volt mobs that aren't the NM, I'm probably not going to try to hold hate when you're doing 60% of the weapon skill or the HP in one weapon skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
to me, that's the sign of an experienced paladin is like, it's like, what's the point? But it all depends, you know. Burt Gang is great. It's like a kind of game changing, but I don't think that, again, I think it's a little bit overstated by the community. Like you can tank segments and stuff without it just fine.
Yeah.
I have no doubt you could tank Kalunga without Burt Gang. I have no doubt that you could do like most of the current fights without a Burt Gang, but it is really, really nice to have.
Are you intentionally channeling Shiraj today, or like is that like like nothing needs to be updated, everything's fine kind of?
No, my whole thing, is that the better a weapon is, the more I'll argue against it. Because
so that's your Shiraj vibe coming in. Okay,
sure.
No,
sure. Yeah. I just think that the community has kind of skewed the outlook on it. I don't want people like listening to this and being like, oh, I have to have a Burt Gang to play Paladin, because there's enough of that out in the world already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you play Paladin, you should naturally want to make a Burt Gang because it's so strong.
Yeah.
I would say that I agree with you in that content isn't requiring you to have a Burt Gang, and you can very easily get the content done with a Malignant Sword, with other items, other options. However, in contrast to your argument, I would say Burt Gang is appropriately hyped. It's very powerful.
It is.
I think the hype is the quintessential thought of like Paladin and Burt Gang going hand in hand is because of its power level.
And I think thematically too, like I would equate Burt Gang to Fenaria for Dark Knight, where it's like, this is the Paladin sword. Like this was like designed with the way the class works in mind, and like it just makes sense for Paladin.
Who doesn't want to be a birdie boy?
That's a great question. I know I did. And I like, again, if you're a Paladin, you should aspire to make a Burt Gang, but don't feel bad if you don't have one. I think that's more of my point.
I'd either put Burt Gang at the top of A tier or low S tier, because there's something I'd put above it.
Yeah.
I put it above Yagrush on A tier.
Okay. Okay.
You okay with that, Fire?
Yeah, I think it's firmly good A tier, and I pretty much agree with everything said.
Perfect. So now that we've established again that I'm always right, let's move on to let's move on to Liberator. This next weapon is good. Yeah, it's really really good. Dex, tell us why it's good.
I think Liberator is the second best scythe in the game.
Okay.
After the
right
Prime.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the AM works really well for Dark Knight. Dark Knight's issue is TP generation, multi-hit.
Right.
Also, the absorbs are quite potent with Liberator. You can lower a mob's VIT by quite a lot or gain a lot of strength for yourself with Liberator. The potency is noticeable compared to raw absorbs. And just being able to spit out fat damage, like Insurgency obviously isn't that good, but having AM3 and just spamming Cross Reaper and other options or multi-step darknesses is very strong. Before the primes came out, I have done some V25 Kalungas with the Dark Knight using Liberator, and I found that the Liberator's DPS was much better than Kaladbolg, personally.
Nice.
Okay. I could see that, especially for a fight like that, and you don't have sub Sam and all that stuff. The Liberator probably make up for that quite a bit.
So, obviously, Final Fantasy is a very complicated game with a lot of nuance, and the answer is always it depends. But for a lot of fights, I think Liberator was the best choice.
Yeah, I actually used Liberator for my first key item for Imbo's V25, and it was fine.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
Yeah, it's a strong side. Vire, you play Dark Knight, don't you?
Yeah, I do sometimes.
What do you think about Liberator?
What Dex said was spot on, and to put into context how strong the absorbs are, with Nether Void on top of Liberator, a monster has to have something like, I think it's over 409 stat in order for impact stat reduction to be larger than a Liberator's absorb. So nice. It really is quite potent. Like for reference, like a lot of the sortie basement bosses, their stats range from the like 360 value to up to the 420 value or something like that. And yeah, like the absorbs from Liberator they're the real deal.
Fire just pushed his glasses up, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I was gonna say that this is his chance because like normally he'll like comb through us talking and like leave 7 pages of comments. So this is the chance to come and like mid podcast come and correct us before we even say it. So Vire, you better take advantage of this this time that we have together.
I'm trying, but my laptop and mic and stuff are stupid, and I'm sick.
It sounds better now.
My friend
it sounds a lot better, yeah.
You sound very good right now.
He's like I think he's a big Heghmoh fan.
Who isn't?
He has a similar setup, although his Galka has enslaved Tarotarus, and he's like, come us with me, and I just went up the floor accidentally. But
is he like living out like a reverse revenge fantasy where the Tarus are the ones in the mines, or what's going on with that?
You're really channeling Shiraj today, dude.
I'm just asking.
He misses him. Shiraj him.
I think he's taking a break from public persona.
Yeah, Shiraj has departed for a while, and he's working on his own stuff. He is welcome back whenever he wants to come, and yeah, we always appreciate having him around.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Also, he was fired. It was huge drama. He was fired behind the scenes. Don't let Myth.
We were just talking about not saying that.
Super toxic work environment here in Shiraj.
You signed an NDA.
I'm like rage typing in the group chat right now.
Yeah,
As
I told you.
Heghmoh saying that. Yeah. So so where does Liberator go? B or A?
I think B.
I think B.
High B. High B.
Above Levitain, I think.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
If I had eighth or S through F, they'd be separate tiers.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable putting it in the middle with Levitain.
Okay. I think that's fair. I was actually debating on whether or not it should go there or almost even an A, because it is quite good, but it's probably not on the same level as
I'm pretty firm in my
yeah,
belief
sure.
that it's the second best scythe in the game.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree with
However,
that.
I think it looks more like a spear than a scythe in its model.
It does look
have
kind
an
of
interesting
janky.
look.
Yeah.
I think I will say of the Mythics, I think it's got the least impressive look to it
I agree.
for its weapon type.
Is this also the time where we talk about their lore backstory, where like Balron, they're all weapons Balron took from his opponents that were like opposed to the Empire in the early days, and he like
You're starting to cut out again.
I heard everything you said, but it sounded like you were walking away as you did it.
Change my position at all.
All right. Sorry, Vire. We're gonna have to
talk about the lore if you wanted to. But I don't know.
Maybe we should go back to the comments.
Because actually, we were talking about that relatively recently. I didn't realize that the relics are copies of the original prime weapons, which are the original ultimate weapons.
It only explains that in TVR, where you're getting the weapon forged by the Dverger, and then it's explained that those weapons were the ancient weapons that fought Chaos, and then in present day, through assumedly the demon as well, some craftsmen created replicas of the prime weapons, and that's the relics we know
that's
today.
the original relics. So that's cool. And then Balron's myriad arms are weapons of what I understood from Vire just now are weapons that were collected by Balron from like people he conquered or defeated. And they're just like pinnacle weapons. Yeah.
You're kind of reliving that power fantasy or that lore fantasy in the acquisition quest where you face off against him again with the weapon and you have to get AM3 and fight him.
Nice.
The scythe in particular is like, if I remember the Vanadil Tribune, it was a rebel, an insurgent, hence the weapon skill name, that rebelled against the Empire, and he had to put down the rebellion, and it was the leader of the rebellion's weapon.
Oh wow, that's cool. I like how these are weapons that Balrog just basically like scrounged up from beating people up, and they're more tailored to the jobs than the phantasm, the fantasy fucking like greatest weapons ever. And like I don't know, it's just strange. Like, how come these ones look cooler and they were just like literally fucking taking off the dead bodies of your enemies?
If I were the dev, I would have made black and purple mythic weapons as the primes as opposed to relic weapons.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Too.
But relics are lower hanging fruit because they're easier and whatever. I don't know. Okay, moving on to Aimer. Aimer's the next one.
Hell yeah.
I think over the last 5 to 10 years, Aimer has aged poorly.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think Aimer, I think it was a lot better than it is now, especially since pets don't do very much damage. Before, like the TP bonus was like a relatively significant impact on the pet damage. I don't think it is anymore.
It also gives pet attack bonus 5, which is 80 attack.
Yeah. I think I remember right.
Compared
Gutler
to Gutler,
is the same thing.
Yeah. Attack.
Yeah, Gutler gives a percentage.
I think it's 10%.
I believe so. And then the Primax just gives level.
But that's really potent.
Yeah. So like the main thing that Aimer has going for it is the TP bonus.
Is a TP bonus.
And
Yeah.
I don't think that part of it has aged well until they add more like pet stats or pet damage or something like that.
Yeah.
The TP bonus just doesn't do a whole lot for pets. I can already
I will
hear.
say,
Good.
oh, you're gonna say you can already hear in the comments.
I was gonna say I can already hear the people advocating that you need an aimer for V25 and bows, and you don't. Like you don't at all.
I can't confirm. I did beat V25 in bows recently, and my Beastmaster does not have Aimer.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of like very indoctrinated endgame players say you absolutely have to have an aimer for that, and it's just completely false. Like
In my experience, I haven't heard that sentiment, but I will say, not anecdotally, like factually, if you're using the leech, Aimer does produce much better absorbs.
How does Spalarisos' like pet level plus compare to what Aimer does for
So
stuff
for
like
Aimer,
Return?
if you're using a pet ability to produce damage, if you're doing like the cricket, the attack bonus aside, the TP bonus will boost the damage of that ability by quite a lot. When comparing that to Spalarisos' level, I think the level overall provides better results because of the comparison of the pet level to the mob, because of how much stats you get per level. It's specifically for like abilities that don't do damage, that are an additional effect, where you'll see better results with Aimer, which is why I think TP Drain Kiss specifically is quite noticeable with Aimer. That being said, go ahead.
I was going to say, Shiranj just also chimed in the chat saying that you can use Prime Axe's pet level plus in offhand. So technically, you can also do TP bonus Aimer main hand Prime offhand for both.
Yep.
Crazy.
You sure could. I would say, specifically for the leech, and I'm not sure about every other pet, but for that one, you will notice a great deal better results with Aimer. But that being said, you do not need an Aimer to get those fights done whatsoever. I have only seen one or two beasts use it. It was impressive. It did better numbers. It was more clean of a fight. But every other fight I've done with it, we just did Arabadi V25, where key item 1, you bring a Beastmaster to Drain Kiss him, and did not need it whatsoever.
Nice. So where would we put this? I mean, I think it does look cool. Another one of those look
awesome.
cool. Primal Rend is a cool sounding weapon skill.
Is Primal Rend ranged or no?
I don't believe it's ranged like Mistral X is.
It is light elemental damage.
Light elemental, yeah.
That's cool.
It's gravitation property. So that gives Beastmaster the ability to make self-double darkness with single-handed axe, which is something Warrior cannot do. But it's like that feasibility of it is, something you don't need the mythic weapon for, because you can get the mythic weapon skills without the mythic.
I would put Aimer at the top of C tier for like great utility, but very not necessary.
Okay. Top of C.
How do other people feel about that?
I would agree. I mean, I think that like it kind of suffers. It's right next to Thief right now, and it suffers from the same thing in that like Beast has so many like so few niche uses that like the advantage that it gives is not ever really utilized too much, And so like if Beast were in a better spot, you might put Aimer in a better spot, but considering the job and everything and how it's used right now, it just, isn't one of those things that's going to change the way you play the game.
Well, considering how I rate Vajra, right? In a vacuum of the Thief world, am I using this weapon? Yes. Is it strong? Yes. Is it better than other daggers? No. With Aimer, I think I would use it more, but also it would be more of a macro piece. I would be using it more often for my pet abilities than the Vajra would be using it for its abilities.
But
I'm not really
there's no
in the
real pet abilities that are affected by TP that you're using on a regular basis besides TP train.
Yeah, I'm not meleeing an aimer. I'm not AM3 an aimer. I'm not primal rending. So I think I'm happy putting it in C tier.
Yeah,
With,
I think that's fair.
Just as one last question on aimer, we talked about like one of the downfalls of Dark Knight and why Liberator is so good is because of the triple attack and like how it speeds up Dark's attack. Beastmaster's notorious for being super slow. Does it not like get a lot of benefit from having the triple attack aftermath?
The problem with that is that axe weapon skills are notoriously bad. You have Mistral Axe is your best bet, and Mistral Axe with an aimer is still going to feel pretty underwhelming. The only real good melee axe right now is Spalarisos. Like,
because Blitz is so crazy.
Yeah, it's because of the weapon skill. It really
After
sucks.
Spalarisos, it's like your only option is Ikenga's.
Yeah, Ikenga's is really good.
Or Dulcinius is kind of like.
Dolly has really fallen off, in my opinion. It used to be.
I agree.
When I made it recently, like, well, not recently, like a couple years ago, and I was just like, I couldn't figure out a way to make it feel good.
Yeah, it's just because like multi-hit FTP transfer weapon skills have always been weird. And that's exactly what decimation is. That's why Monk has felt weird. That's why they want to use the Hoxney and Pula, stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know, maybe make a Hoxney and Pula decimation build and see how
wait
goes.
a second.
Yeah.
I can try it out. I can try it out right now.
We might have found the new meta right now.
I think if you're gonna melee with Beast to compensate for the slow TP gains, it's sad to say, but it's similar to Ranger in that offhanding a Kraken Club makes it really good.
Yep. And nothing feels better than Spalarisos Kraken.
I'm sure you're right. Blitz.
So what's next? Karn went on?
Karn went on.
Yeah, Karn is up next. And I'm gonna be a negative Nancy again.
Yep.
Because it's good. But I'll let you guys go ahead first.
I stand by my take that Karn Winhan is the last Rima that I would recommend a bard makes, because it's such a pain in the ass to make, and it's I get that like when you get into Sword 9 boss, like every second counts, but it truly is quality of life. Like, you know, you can still maintain your 5 songs full potency, and you just have to stop and sing one extra time, kind of thing.
Correct.
I think this is a weapon that gets better the deeper you get into the game. Like the higher end content you do, the better this gets.
100%.
Yeah.
The Karn Winhan in mythology is King Arthur's dagger, his magic dagger. He had a whole host of magic weapons, and you need it to complete your King Arthur cosplay.
Have you noticed that it kind of matches Excalibur? It actually looks really cool.
Really?
Yeah. If you look close,
that is cool.
The center of the weapon, how it's carved out on both of them are pretty similar.
Huh. That's a cool little lore tidbit. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. But I mean, Karn is a staple. It always will be. And I would encourage it for bards that want to play the game seriously. But exactly like you said, I think it should be the last one because it's probably the least impactful Rima of
and
the
like
bard
I feel like you don't really get the full return of it until you have everything else too. You know what I mean? Like
when you look at bard as a whole, you know, you have Marseilles is 3 songs in one. That's your most important Rima. Then you have Dour Dabla to get an extra slot. Then you have Yellowhorn to get full potency. When you compare it to those 3 options, it's obviously worse because it's just I don't know, like 3 minutes more duration, 4 minutes more duration.
Mm-hmm.
But that duration really is useful because it lets you full-time nitro.
If you're not
Um,
going to have four songs full potency, Yellerhorn potency, you might as well have been playing in May and gotten Miracle Cheer, and then it's better than Karnwanon.
absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, it's a meme, but you're not wrong. Like, if someone's got duration songs, if someone's got full duration songs with Karnwanon and they don't have Marcius, I'm like, I don't want to play with.
Damn, that's brutal.
I like Morton Rhyme is a pretty decent weapon skill though.
I would say more than decent. It's very strong.
Yeah.
It's strong.
Yeah.
It's cool. It has fragmentation/distortion property, so it can close and open light, and it can open for darkness. It can make lots of distortions.
Bard is obviously on Impugandrang and Twashtar as well, but I still find myself using Mordant Rhyme with AM3 often as a Bard. I know a lot of people for Ammonon will use Mordant Rhyme instead of Savage Blade on their board. It's that strong.
Yeah. It's also nice that it doesn't scale with TP. It's strong at 1k, unlike a lot of the other weapon skills that Bard has access to.
Like, I use it on Bard specifically for Gartel. Not Lashawn, Gartel. Yeah. And I'm seeing like 35k very often when everyone else is doing, like 30, 40k. So it's right up there with everything else.
Nice.
Yeah,
but I can do it at 1k and I TP very fast.
I would put Karn right up there with Bird King.
I think it's the best.
Top of A.
I think it's the best of the three between Burt Gang, and Karn.
Yeah.
But I think I have that opinion only because you melee with it. If it's just its effect alone, it's definitely top of the picks, but it's not better than those other weapons.
Yeah.
I also think it's worth noting that it's the best magic accuracy dagger for Bard.
Nice. And I mean, definitely. I think it's a good spot for it too, because it's like that's kind of the big three of Mythics in general. When people make recommendations, it's
I think there's one more.
Karn.
I think there's one more, and it's not the S tier one.
I know what the S tier one is, so I'm curious.
Well, I have a surprise S tier one for you guys too.
I assume I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I assume that it starts with a K. But
how'd you know? All right, so moving on after Karnwanon, we have Gastrophides, which is another one of my favorites. We love Gastra. Yeah, Gastra's great. So let's do it in D tier and call it a day.
It gets overshadowed by Big Brother death penalty, but
I agree.
I just think is out there.
Yeah, Gastra is one of the only mythics I've ever made twice on multiple different characters. I when on my original character, it was my first mythic I ever made was Gastra, and this was like earlier Dynamis Divergence days when you would like build an entire party around Gastrophides. True Flight. Doing cap damage because it was so crazy to do cap damage. It's lost a little bit of its luster, and I will say that I made it as my first mythic on my new character when I started playing again, and it's one of the only Rima that I have that I mostly regret making the second time, because I never use it. It's literally like I did all the time to make it, and I just have no reason to ever use it.
I'll tell you where I use it now if you want.
Okay. I have so much fun with it that I look for reasons to use it personally.
Well, there's that too. Like if people do Peach Power and they're like core, and I'm like, I play Ranger and I'll do better than the cores, and I bring the Gastrophides and I do just as fine. I'll skill chain with their Lead and Salute and make fragmentation and double my damage. It's very strong for that. It's still used for Mage Sortie 9 boss or 8 boss. You can close lights and allow for fat skill chains off the mages. You basically sub a Scholar out for the Ranger.
That is really cool. I do like that idea.
I duo Cloud of Darkness, Ranger, and Red Mage. The Red Mage gravities. I kite in a circle and spam True Flight. It dies within 4 minutes. I think Gastra is still very strong for Dynamis. And in certain Master Trials, you still want to have that fat magic damage. It's obviously Ranger's best magic damage option. Hotshot being probably the second. Hotshot sometimes is better, but usually isn't.
And the only crossbow Rima, right?
Yeah, it's the only good crossbow anymore. Like back in the day, the arsenal was like Gyarados bow, Culverin, Hellfire, and Othinus's bow, which was the crossbow. I think the problem with Gastrophades is a problem with crossbows, in that the utility of crossbows that existed at 5, packing bloody bolts, packing holy
acid bolts,
acid bolts, having all that utility that doesn't exist in the game anymore, and I wish it did.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Having an extra shot in your barrage, although you probably don't notice it most of the time, is really nice.
When you have like 13 shots in barrage going to 14, it's like,
it has like how much accuracy augmented?
Yeah.
It's so fat.
I still think Gastrophedes has the potential to be the highest magic damage dealer in the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because you're going to be weapon skill faster than a black mage can magic burst.
True.
And you're going to be doing similar numbers. It's great for like Zerd. I think that was like the one thing that Dex didn't mention that I was thinking of.
True.
Anytime you can do magic damage, like I brought it in Limbus, and you can do 80k True Flights in Limbus. Like it does some.
You have to tailor your buff for it, but yes.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think it's strong. In fact, I think if you rate, let's say, what is it called? The death penalty high, you have to rate Gastrophedes high because it does the same thing.
On my presumptive or on my like pre-planned list, I have them back to back next to each other.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Where are you putting it?
I put it top of B.
But yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. Was right around B.
Nice.
Cool.
And
what's the lore? What's the lore, Vire? What's where did Gastrophedes come from?
I don't actually remember. I just remember it means like belly bow and it's Greek.
Oh. Vire's like, fuck that crossbow.
Well, it's like it's the same root as gastrointestinal, and it's also got fees on it. So it's like two different weird fetishes.
Great.
So it's so it's like it's like a belly with feeties on it.
Now sometimes I'm pretty selective about the mythology that they tie to the stuff in the game, because sometimes it just doesn't jump out at me as much. It's like, oh, okay, that's Greek, cool, whatever. But yeah, like what all you were saying about it, I've seen it do very well. The guy who's carrying me through Limbus right now, he uses it in Dynamics Divergence for Wave 3 boss because it doesn't produce, just like Leaden Salute and other magic weapon skills, it doesn't produce a lot of enmity. So you can do really high damage really frequently with it and never steal hate, no matter how bad your tank is. And he pretty regularly produces upwards of 6 to 8 million damage on the Wave 3 boss before it dies. And when he's around, it always dies. So
how long does it take you to comb through the chat log to count all those numbers together?
Well, he posts a parse, but I don't. I'm like the guy that just like I fill up and I'm vanilla, and then like people post a parse, and I'm just like, oh, well, numbers neat.
Yeah, sometimes one of my cousins, he's like super autistic, so he adds it all up as we go. It's pretty cool.
You go with numbers. Oh my goodness!
I actually play with my chat log and one log, and I catch a lot of flack for it. And they're like, "How can you read anything? Like, don't you separate your chat out?" And I'm like,
no. That is kind of crazy.
Window?
Yeah, you do the single window. Wow, that's hardcore.
That's no bueno. You got to split that.
Yeah. when we were talking earlier in the episode about the guy playing in 4:3 aspect ratio, it's actually Vire.
Vire and Kiko, the only people that actually still play in 4-3.
It was like the first 60 episodes, I think, of my Let's Play or something like that. I was in 4:3 ratio, and my friend was just like, dude, are you still in 4:3 ratio? I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, you're so fat.
Oh man. All right. So next up on the list we have Kogurasamaru. And we're getting into the section of weapons that I don't know as much about. But I've heard this is good for hybrids.
You've heard this is good.
I've heard this can be good for
katana?
hybrids. The great katana, yeah.
Yeah, I did not even know that's what it was called. In fact, I looked at it earlier and I was like, I forgot there was a Mythic great katana.
That sounds about right, honestly.
I've never heard the word uttered in my life. And that explains a lot as to why I think it's not good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that it's in a difficult spot because, like, you know, Masa is so good. Doji has its uses. The Prime Kusanagi is fantastic. Like, it just there's so much competition. There's like just no real niche use for it, I guess.
Let's rewind the clock to a earlier, younger, more vibrant. Would you make this or a mono Murakumo?
Probably a mono. I don't know. I think a mono would be easier, but let me see.
I think easier aside, I think a mono is just better than this. Like a mono augments your damage and outputs your damage better, and this is like a defensive weapon. It augments third eye.
Yeah, this is the weird like phase of when they used to talk about monk, or like used to talk about samurai was meant to be a tank. And you know, it's like, well, why does it have a defensive Rima? This is so weird.
But then it still occasionally attacks twice or thrice, kind of conflicts with the Zanshin.
Yeah.
So it's just in a weird spot. I don't see like, even if we isolate it by like samurai measures and not thinking about the whole picture, I don't think it's a very potent choice to make on samurai.
Let me tell you about it, please.
I think this is in Glansfaust here.
No.
Glansfaust here. Poor guy.
You can't say Glansfaust without F.
The Kogurasamaru, at first glance, like it does look bad. Like you don't see, you know, it's like it's got low base damage to the Rimas. It doesn't have like occasional triple damage. It doesn't have a strong physical weapon skill. The trigger weapon skill is pretty bad. But the thing about it is that Samurai can stack so much store TP that with the Mythic Aftermath, Samurai can actually achieve a 3-hit build without a Corsair.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
That's cool.
I thought for sure you were gonna say like the thing is, and like list all of this bad stuff, and then just be like, it's actually really bad.
That's what I was hoping.
I didn't think you were gonna go positive at the end there.
No. So when you actually build around it for the 3-hit build, you still wind up with a multi-tacker rate of about 1.9, and your TP gain, you can achieve 3,000 TP in 6 seconds or less. So you can basically like ignore TP bonus stuff and just like stack full damage gear for all your weapon skills. And so it also, the Aftermath procs on, like, something I haven't talked about very much is Mythic Aftermath procs on weapon skills, on physical weapon skills. It procs. And so for hybrids, this is incredibly powerful. And if you take a Kogurasamaru to Dynamics Divergence, particularly Wave 3, you will, without even having capped buffs, like just like Fury Frailty or something like that, you'll hit capped damage on Farmer and M's effortlessly. And they also, like elemental weapon skills, they don't produce as much enmity as the damage they
Yeah.
do. And so you won't pull hate except by your skill chain damage. And it's very, very easy to hit like 7 to 8 million damage threshold on the wave 3 boss. And personally, with Kogure Sumaru, I have outdamaged stage 4 Prime Great Katana from another samurai with equivalent buffs.
Is that in Dyna though?
Yeah, same boss,
Yeah.
same alliance.
Okay.
Would you say that this is better than the Aeonic for that same purpose?
Yeah, I have an R15 Aeonic. I don't use it anymore at all.
Interesting.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. See, I said at the beginning that I thought it was good for hybrids, and turns out that just another case of me always being right. So I think that being said, I think Koga firmly earns its place in D tier. I think everything Virus said is valid, and I think it's great, and I love that. But I think it's above Glansfast, and
That is an extreme.
other than that, I don't think
Yeah,
it's any
I
above,
did
anything else.
after Vire's like impassioned defense of it, I moved it from below Glansfast to above Glansfast.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think he earned that. He earned an entire place up. So good job, Vire. Round of applause. Keep it up.
To be realistic, like it is for the effort to reward ratio, it is more like a high C, low B tier weapon. Like you can get similar results with all the other Rima options that are easier to acquire. And also just the fact that you have to build around it. Like I had to take all the double attack and other things out of my TP set, and then which I mean you're already kind of doing anyway for Zanshin, but like there's actually not an awful lot of Zanshin gear that's like not straightforward. It's like MP plus 3 body and a few other things.
Yeah.
Other places I've used it because I don't get to play Sam as much as I'd like because people are just like, oh, don't bring Sam, bring your warrior. We want Savage. I've used it in Sortie a few times, and you can hit cap damage Fudos with it. Not consistently, but like you can, and it's just for a lot of bosses you do want the prime weapon skill for the skill chain property.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in Dynamics Divergence, I love when people come samurai because one, it's with the hybrids, like you said, it's so easy to hit high damage. But two, I can make them use Ageha so I don't have to do armor break on stuff, which is nice.
Hell yeah. Heghmoh just likes being lazy.
Fire's defense of it, I'm still putting Glansfast at the bottom, but he's making me want to put it above Conquer, so it's making me want to drop Conquer.
Oh, Conquer down.
I'd be okay with that.
Isn't Conquer just a macro piece, and this actually does something just in a very, very niche scenario?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just move everything down below to lower D.
I like that idea.
I refuse to accept that it's good, but
anyway, we need to keep space on D for the ultimate macro piece, which is Nagi.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Oh the shit.
Now Nagi, are we talking about Nagi right now?
We're talking about Nagi right now. Yeah.
Nagi also looks really cool and
super unique. Coolest looking with
it. Yeah, it's a little scythe. That's so cool.
I thought we said something else was coolest. I can't remember.
Is the fact that it doesn't have a chain on it and you can't throw it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. If it were a ranged weapon skill, we would be having a different conversation.
Okay. Well, considering that, I guess we go just straight into D since it's not ranged.
And, why does it have enmity 40 on it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the OG tanking katana. I don't know why.
Nagi, just so I understand, because I don't think I've ever actually seen somebody legitimately use it. Nagi makes your Mijin Gakure give you a free Arise, essentially, or better than Arise. Like
you
you
get
just
up
come
on
back
weekend.
without weakness. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's really good,
But
but
is it worth making a mythic for?
Mijin is also probably the worst SP in the game.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting about that is that in like the number one use I can think of for that. So like you get a free reset, right? You have to rebuff, which really sucks because you're gonna lose all your buffs. But it's an enmity reset, right? You fully wipe all your enmity if you die. So the advantage to that would be that you aren't tanking, whereas the katana is designed to be tanking. So it's kind of at odds with itself.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard anybody accuse Nagi of being good, personally.
I've had argue to me that Nagi was one of the better weapons for ninja. Not as good as Heishi, but probably the second best, specifically for the same reasons Vire just argued for the Great Katana.
The hybrids.
And that
Yeah.
you TP quite quickly, you do hybrid weapon skills, bada bing, bada boom. But all that being said, its purpose is pretty dumb as shit. I think it's, in my opinion, better than the Great Katana because it is the same exact thing with an actually useful macro build.
Yeah.
Whereas the Great Katana augments third eye, and I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah. Now, see, Nagi, I would make because, and it's the contrarian in me, the one that's like, I'm gonna make Nagi really good. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make a Nagi so that I can go to Dynamis Divergence one day on Ninja and be the highest damage dealer with a Nagi.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason.
You're doing the
'Cause I
inverse
wanna
of
try
me, so like you're
contrarian
instead of
tryhard.
talking shit about the good ones, you're trying to talk up the bad ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got
Yeah.
you.
My buddy made a Nagi recently to try out. He's a ninja main. He's been making he's working towards stage 5 prime. And he's got a lot of stuff. He's kind of like a kingpin. He's got a Kraken Club and all this good stuff, and he's beaten all the V25s. He made Nagi. He R15'd it, and I was like expecting him to be surprised that it was good because of hybrids, because I kind of had that, like loving the Great Katana so much. But it's not the same because of the nature of dual wield, and you know how we talk about Monk all the time and how the aftermath only affects
Yeah.
the right fist. The Nagi aftermath obviously only affects the Nagi. And so, like it doesn't turn your TP gain up the same way that the Great Katana would or the Liberator would or anything like that. And like he's like, I'm disappointed. I prefer the Aeonic. And I was just like, damn.
All right. I guess that solidifies it. D tier. That's a shame. I was hoping for one redemptive quality about it personally. But Heghmoh, once you make yours, Heghmoh, do your research, do your testing, and send the results, and maybe we'll go back and change this.
Will do.
What is next?
I'm gonna make a Mijin Gakuri crit build to do cap damage minions.
Next up, we have Rune Hige. Rune Hige.
Rune Hige.
Hige, yeah.
It makes your jumps crit guaranteed and gives them an attack bonus of 35%.
I feel like Ryu pre-prime was one of the best polearms.
I think the Aeonic was better, but it was also very strong. Like it was debatable good. I think every polearm is good.
I think I think the problem with polearms is that Shining One exists.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But I don't know. Dragoon is a job that would benefit heavily from the aftermath, just like Dark Knight. I feel like it's probably not as popular and probably not as universal as the Liberator would be, but the similar effect goes into equipping it to Dragoon.
I think its bonus effect of making your jumps have attack plus 50% or 35%. Is that what I said? 35, and making them guaranteed crit it's cute. It's but it's not like super noticeable or impactful.
Right.
Like you're jump doing 5,000 instead of 3,000. You know what I mean? Like, okay. But
Yeah.
it's AM3 and its TP generation is nice. Drake's Bane isn't horrible, but it's also kind of mid. It's like a crit weapon skill, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was more popular in like Abyssia days.
Oh, in the even in the 75 era, I think Drake's Bane was very popular in that
Yeah.
era.
Yep. These days, not so much.
You'd rather like Stardiver or
I feel like personally, if I were to give this like a 1-to-1 comparison, it's very similar to Vajra, where
Yes.
it's a good weapon. It has its uses. It can be used. I would never be mad if a Dragoon pulled up with this and started doing stuff. But there's just better options at this point.
I do think it's better for Vajra for Dragoon than Vajra is for Thief.
Yeah, and Dragoon is just better, so maybe we'll bump it up to beat. Sorry, Thief.
I mean, I also would say, like, to the same degree that I talked about, like, Thief, when like somebody shows up with Vajra, you're like, oh, okay, wow, cool, you made that. That's
It's kind of the
worth
same
it.
thing.
You know, if somebody shows up with Ryu no Hige, you're like, oh, okay, wow, nice, dude.
I think I've
put the
only ever
effort in.
seen like 1 or 2 in person. Like they're pretty
A
rare.
very similar sentiment is if someone shows up on Blue Mage with the stage 5 prime, you're like, oh, you're doing it.
Wow, nice.
Are you talking
Is
about
that thing-
yourself?
Most
Yes.
important question: how does Ryu look? Does it look cool?
It looks pretty cool.
Holy shit, it's awesome.
Nice.
It's like a weird designed blade. It's kind of silly.
It's like
but-
that big pole arm with a big wavy blade on the top. It's pretty dope.
Oh, it's wavy?
I think so.
Using new age terms.
Its name's like Dragon Whisker or something like that.
Is that what it means?
Dragon Whisker, nice. Where are we putting it?
I
D?
put it top of C, above
Top of C.
Vajra. I put it above Vajra.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Next up we have Nirvana. Nirvana's kind of a staple. And
So this is when I said there was another weapon that was in contention with always make this was the one I was thinking of.
Really?
Whenever people talk about like what are the best mythics, you should always make Urggon, you should always make Karn. Someone always says Nirvana. Like Nirvana is definitive for Summoner.
I think in 2019 someone always said Nirvana.
No, I mean Summoner has definitely fallen off. Don't get me wrong, but I still also think Nirvana is quintessential to Summoner. That hasn't changed. I still think it's actually better than the Prime.
It still has its niche because it augments the physical blood packs, which the Prime does not do. The Prime only augments the magical blood packs. So you still need Nirvana even if you get to Prime.
Someone was telling me that that Nirvana still beats the Prime for magic in a lot of cases, or you would use Opashoro.
I get Opashoro is the Prime.
Oh no, not Opashoro. The other thing. Why can't I think of that?
Groveler, whatever.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, no, I know which the augmentable one from Rising Jima. I feel like the problem with that is the fact that you never need to do damage on Summoner. I don't know.
Well, I would say that, in every instance of like a V25 fight where we bring a Summoner to do Mewing Lullaby, right? That's like nowadays when Summoner isn't used to burn Ionics, that's what people mostly use Summoner for.
Yeah.
It's Mewing Lullaby. But in all those fights, every good Summoner I've played with will summon Kate Sith, Mew, swap to like Siren or Garuda or whatever,
that's true, and do some damage for sure,
and do that damage and then swap back. And I'm sure Nirvana being able to boost that damage is a big deal because it's physical, and it's making it do like, I don't know, 8 to 10k instead of like 2k. I'm sure I'm pulling numbers out of my ass, but like I'm sure the it's quite significant.
Isn't Nirvana Nirvana, like I always get it backwards or mixed up. I can't remember which one's which, but like
Kurt
the
Cobain.
prime, yeah. The prime is I was gonna make the same joke, but in a different way. Prime is like better for physical, and the and Nirvana's best for magical, or vice versa, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, if you're serious in a summoner, you should make a Nirvana. It's good.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the exactly what we said about Vajra. I'd be sad if you came summoner. And like I just there's
I
think it's
mean,
a lot more better
I
than Fate.
have I've heard of people doing like 8 boss sortie runs with summoner as a
Yeah.
healer utility job and like stuff like
and
that.
that's
buffs are
super
really
cool. And that's super cool.
Yeah.
It's just how many summoners do you know are doing that, and how many like how difficult is that for a summoner to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
What's the I don't know. I don't know. It's just not something I see often, so it's hard for me
Yeah.
to properly parse.
I'd love to see it more, but I guess
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, good point.
I'd
Good
love to
point.
see stuff like that all the time. You just don't really.
Mhm.
I think
The
I've
thing
heard
about
two people talk about it, and that's it.
the thing about
my
is it's
Oh, go
just
ahead.
much. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please go
Summoner
ahead.
pretty much just relegated to buffs and TP suppression.
Yeah.
But like I was saying earlier, the weapon is so potent that if a good summoner whips it out and is weaving in all this fat damage, it makes a significant difference. Like it's very noticeable how much easier these fights become when you do it that
Yeah.
way.
Nice.
Yeah. So, like, if you're a summoner, this is S tier.
Yeah.
If like that's like your main job, this is S tier.
And
think
very
nothing-
similar to Thief. But very similar to Thief. Summoner is one of those jobs where when there's a returning player, they're like, "Oh, cool. How's Thief?" And you're like, "Oh, Thief's not great." And they're like, "That's okay. I've got a backup job. I really am excited to playing Summoner."
Yeah. But compared to the rest of the list of mythics, I think this fills a very similar slot for summoner that Levitain fills for black mage, except the difference being that the Nirvana will still be better than Prime for physical stuff.
Yeah.
So I think for me this is like around B tier.
I'd put it at bottom of A or high B, depending on how heavily you value summoner.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's damage, which is never bad. But for me, for a job like summoner from a mythic weapon, I want a little bit more than like just damage. Like I feel like there's some cool stuff that could have been added here, and I wish it added a little bit of utility besides just like the attack.
But I would say my thing about summoner, right, is people bringing summoner, they're apprehensive to bring summoner because of the lack of damage output that other jobs would in the same spot that a buffing utility job would provide. And this kind of like bridges that gap. It doesn't cross that gap, which is why summoner is still not popular.
Yeah.
But it bridges it in a way.
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't think it's as like impactful as Yag Rush. Do you?
No.
Okay, so I'll say top of B for me.
But I will say that, you know, when people make recommendations of which mythic to make, it is typically held in those top in terms of the conversation. I don't think it's correct to be in the modern era. In 2026, the year of our Lord, I wouldn't put it there.
Yes.
I mean,
The
yeah, I
year of
think
the Dex.
again, it's like a fantastic weapon for summoner. There are people like Zeshra in chat who are exceptional summoners that can do crazy stuff with it, but you know, it's going to be a hard one to get a return on unless you really put effort into the job in general.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Cool. Moving on to I'm excited about this one. Tizona.
Oh,
you know, I've heard that Tizona is so good. Our friend made it twice. He has 2 Tizonas on the same character. Yeah.
He didn't do it on purpose, but he should have leaned into it.
I think he's leaned into it since then.
To this day, I'm still mad at him for not finishing his second Tizona as far as he could take it.
Did he wait? This person had Tizona finished in a bog safe or something somewhere, and then made a second one because they forgot.
So he was coming off a break, and he didn't know which weapon he had turned in. He thought it was Karn, and then he finished the Mythic and got another Tizona.
This whole time he thought he was finishing a Karn, and then he got the second Tizona. He's like, "What?"
Nice.
It's one of my favorite
my
stories.
critique of him is that he stopped there and canceled the quest instead of finishing it.
Just should have finished it.
Yeah, instead of going to 75.
I'm pretty sure if you main hand and offhand a Tizona, you would be able to proc the MP drain on both.
Oh wow,
that'd be interesting,
right? I guess the world. No,
I thought it was just like an additional effect that restored MP for you dealing damage with it.
That's what I'm saying. So both of them should proc, right? Or is it main hand only? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to have you make a second Tizona and find out.
Well, I've got the Tizzy and the Tizo.
Oh,
how do you do that? They're like, does the game really allow that?
Yeah, it'll allow it because it won't tell you what weapon you're making unless you go to that NPC out of the way for the one that's next to Naja. And
I think the reason it works is because when you upgrade the weapon and then augment it, it's no longer the same ID.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of an oversight.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think the way they should have done it is each duties, tasks, and deeds quest that you do should have a tag as to which weapon was done, and then complete, and then you can't do that quest anymore.
They should have them give titles so that we chase them for mastery rank.
If you hand over, if you hand over the stored vigil weapon to Naja, she's like, "You already did this, idiot." That's how it should be.
Yeah. She starts slamming on the desk and is like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, you already brought me this one. You think you're going to get a bonus for this?"
I don't know why the Empire keeps employing you. You're useless, maggot.
So, my opinion on Tizona is that it changes the game, or it changes the job, arguably more than any of the other mythics that we've talked about.
Agreed.
I think the utility that it adds is super cool. It is great because it gives you a weapon skill that's arguably better than Savage Blade.
I don't think that's arguable.
Okay. It's just better than Savage Blade. And like Dex, like, correct me if I'm wrong, does it not fundamentally change how Blue Mage operates?
Without Tizona, like if you're just playing the job, whether you're in a party position or in a solo position, you'll be running out of MP. If you're the spells are attractive enough to cast often, and they're always expensive, especially the nukes. When you're meleeing with Tizona, especially with the aftermath, how often it hits, you're just gonna get all your MP back. It's completely transformative. With Tizona, you can do fights where you won't need to magic hammer or battery charge or anything.
I would say that as a general rule, instead of shouting for white mages, people should start shouting for blue mages.
I missed the train on the blue mage meta in the late teens. I think it was like 2017, 2016, where blue mage was all the rage and it was used for everything. But I also believe that was an Almace meta.
That's what I heard.
I think typically because the percentage boost of Expiation damage was not available. The augments were not available. I do believe that the R15 on the Tizona is what pulls it ahead of Savage Blade.
Okay.
But overall, just like the TP generation, even if it's just the main hand that's swinging, you generate so much more TP than other options with Tizona. The magic accuracy to land your debuffs, which is not always easy on Blue Mage. The Infinity MP, I think it transforms Blue Mage more than most other weapons transform their job. Like, a lot of them are just quality of life. I'd say this is more like all in one best in slot.
Yeah, I think you would not be able to do fights like Kalunga V25 with a Blue Mage instead of a Geo without Tizona. Or if you could, it would be very, very difficult without that extra MP.
You might need a ballad, and then you're gimping yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be frustrating. For me, Tizona's our first S tier.
At first S tier. Wow.
Yeah, I think
I would
this is
agree
the
with
one.
that.
I think it's better
Because I mean,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think that everything about it works well for the job. More so than like what I said for Burt Gang, where like thematically and like how it augments the job, it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it makes your blue magic work more efficiently. The sword weapon skill's good. You know, all those factors kind of working together to make it a great blue mage sword. Still, blue mage is kind of in a rough spot in the meta, but like even transcending that, I think it's fantastic. So I'd agree.
Yeah, Blue Mage is in a rough spot in the meta, but it's no summoner. You know what I mean?
True.
Bringing this to like your Gastrophades, like you have regrets. This was the first mythic I made. It was something I'd always loved the idea of and never had the, opportunity to make at the 75 era. It was the first thing I made when I came back. To this day have not put it down. You get Nagling, and this is still better than Nagling. To this day, I haven't made a Prime Stage 5 sword because Tizona is so strong. Like,
Nice.
you from the people I've spoken to, the conversations I've had, from the research I've done, from the anecdotal evidence, the scenarios where you would use the Caliburnus Stage 5 to beat Tizona are very niche. They are often like, honestly, scenarios where you can solo and get skill chains, and that's the only way to beat it. And that's a lot of work to get a Prime Stage 5. It's just, I don't even think that's, and you're sacrificing the whole MP aspect to do that too.
Yeah.
We're talking strictly damage.
Hey now, don't
What if
don't
you
count out
offhand
the
Tizona?
refresh. No, I'm just
I
Can
don't
you get
think
the MP back with offhand
I
Tizona?
think you get the MP back offhand, but you can't get the AM3.
and you'd lose your TP bonus. Damn.
On any given day, I guess any one person could argue, hey, you put Burt Gang in A, it should be S, or hey, you put Karn or Yagrush in A, it should be an S. On any given day, I could agree with them because, they could make a compelling argument. I would still put Tizona over that, though.
I don't think they could argue that. So
I think they can because they're not on the podcast.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah, get fucked, idiot.
Oh no. Yeah, Tizona is clearly a little bit more game changing than some of the other stuff. Like where the other stuff is really nice to have. Tizona is the first one where I'm like, there's literally things that you can do with this weapon that you cannot do without it.
Who doesn't like bananas?
That's a great question. Moving on, we have death penalty. So we'll go ahead and shove that in the C tier, right underneath Gastra, and call it good.
Wait, I thought Gastra was in B.
Yeah,
it is in B.
Yeah, we'll shove it under Gastra.
Like really far below Gastra. I think it's on par with Gastra. I do think it's way overhyped. Like,
I agree.
I've been playing for years. You can get very similar numbers to death penalty let-ins without a death penalty.
I think death penalty is like one of the single most overhyped mythics that exist.
Yeah,
really?
for sure.
I mean, I don't know how my core in my party is Slacker, so like he doesn't have death penalty, and he also hardly ever ladens. But I had somebody tell me they were using Geo, a Rune, and three Corsairs on Ultima, the new Ultima, and their Corsairs were doing like 70 to 80k laden salutes in a Limbus boss.
I would
just
say
like spamming them out. That's crazy.
I would say that you'd probably be able to do 50, 60K without death penalty
Yeah.
in that same scenario. And like, yes, that's a noticeable difference, but it's not like insurmountable. It's not insane.
Yeah. I don't think you could not do that with Gastrophidius is the thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
When I see people talking about Corsair, like people treat death penalty almost as exclusionary as they treat Yag Rush. And for what? Like a little bit extra damage. Like it's ridiculous to me.
Well,
It's a great weapon. It's a great weapon. I'm not gonna say it's not.
To your point, Corsair has guns that are magic focused, and then Ranger doesn't have any other weapon that is magic focused.
Yeah, that's true. So,
Corsair can get Augmented Doomsday. It can get Molidosis.
mhm.
It can just use the TP bonus Magian Trial.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah. I would.
Ranger can do.
What's up?
I said Ranger can do all that. Ranger's on all those guns.
It's just not really the same, like damage wise.
Yeah, True Flight
I guess
just
you could
gets
argue
augmented
that-
more so much by
Yeah.
that by
at least-
Gastra than Leaden does.
Maybe
by...
that's anecdotal.
Mhm.
Maybe that's just like my perceived perception from playing both jobs. I just feel like the damage I get from Leaden with death penalty is so much less important. And you know what? The bonus effect as well is not that big a deal. The quick draw boost.
Mhm.
I mean,
I would say death
procs.
penalty is slightly ahead of Gastra because it has more applicability, it's more universal, and like it does the same thing basically.
Yeah.
So to me it's B, like maybe the bottom of A, but I don't think it
I would
says
say that high.
yeah, I'd say B.
I would also like argue, like I often argue whenever like something comes up for Corsair, there's always like this like Corsair in its arsenal has so much competition with itself. Like you have, Savage Blade is busted on Corsair. You have, Laden Salute's busted on Corsair. Last Stand can be crazy powerful on Corsair. Wildfire's great. And so like it has so much competition in terms of what it can do. But I would say that like even considering that, Laden Salute adds a one thing that is unique. It's like you're doing this like magical range damage that you don't have access to necessarily otherwise. Maybe with Wildfire, there's a little bit of competition with itself, but on the other end of the elemental spectrum.
They both make darkness though.
Oh, they do. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you're to compare like Leaden and True Flight, because they essentially do exactly what you're saying. They give you like something that you can't do a whole lot of otherwise. Death penalty boosts Leaden Salute less than True Flight, or gets boosted by Gastrophidius. And that's kind of why.
That's how it feels to me. I mean, someone will probably argue. I'm sure Vire might be like, no, it's pretty much the same, but it feels like it does at least.
Mhm.
At least.
Well, to be truthful, I've never seen a Ranger that like a Ranger main. Ranger mains are usually very dedicated. And I've never seen one be like, yeah, I'm just gonna make do with like Fomalhaut or Armageddon for True Flight. But I've seen tons of course do. I guess it's
Yeah,
'cause
that's true.
people
That has
play.
a lot to do with how important core is as a job, like in the metagame, and how often core is included in parties. So people will very often not be required or expected to put in all the effort to make a mythic weapon.
Yeah, Ranger is kind of a passion job. Like if you're gonna gear
Yeah.
Ranger, you might as well do
Go all
it
the
balls
way.
to the wall because you're doing it for fun to begin with. Might as well make all the fun toys to go along with it.
For that same reason, like it is best in slot for Leaden. There's no argument there.
Yeah.
And the job is used a lot more than Ranger. And that's the only reason I put it above Gastra.
Yep, I agree.
It's a little bit of confirmation bias about like the efficacy of for True Flight. Just because like I don't see any Rangers not using Gastra when they True Flight.
I suppose that's true.
I've seen Rangers True Flight without it, and it's not very pretty, to be honest. But I think B is fair.
I said Asura sounds like a strange place.
Yeah. Moving on to what do we have? Kenkoken. Kenkoken. I need one of you guys that plays pups to explain what Kenkoken does for pup.
My understanding is it's very transformative in that you can almost never overheat.
Yeah, so you can't overload.
Overload.
Basically reduces like the burden from the burden you build from maneuvers to like 1/3 of the amount.
But
So,
does
like,
it reduce the burden you get from playing pup?
That's
a great question.
That's ever present. And it's part of the job. But it reduces. So basically, you can, if you're just spamming, whatever fire maneuvers or ice maneuvers over and over again to do magic bursts or something like that, you could still hit a point where you overburden on pup with Kenkoken, but it's really, really hard.
Okay.
Especially when you stack it, because I think it happens, it's like calculated as divides it by 3 after the reductions you get from other gear pieces. So like it ends up being such a negligible amount with it that you can just keep spamming maneuvers, which is pretty big for pup.
The wiki says up to 15 consecutive identical maneuvers can be spammed every 10 seconds without an overload.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Is overloading a big thing without Kenkoken?
Yes.
Well,
it's pretty common if you were to do like, especially like, so one key instance in which you might overload is like when you're doing magic stuff with the puppet, because you're using an ice maker, I think is the attachment, which consumes your ice maneuvers to increase the potency of your cast. And so you put up 3 ice maneuvers, do a nuke, and then you put up 3 more, and like that alone could be enough to push you pretty close to overloading. So yeah, it changes it significantly for certain
without
things.
playing Puppet Master, but knowing what people describe about this weapon, this is the weapon to use when you're standing back and letting the pup do the work.
It's not something that you would melee with?
I don't think so, no. If you were to get up close and fight with the pup, I think you would use something to benefit yourself, because this weapon seems rather weak. I think Stringing Pummel is a weaker weapon skill.
Stringing Pummel's pretty good for its like... Oh, sorry, was that right?
There's a video on YouTube somewhere of a puppet master soloing and soaring. I think they solo 3 bosses using Kenkoken and a puppet thrust. I think it's just A, E, and C. And they melee with Kenkoken.
They can melee with Kenkoken on.
Is that more so because they're bottled by time and they have to keep Kenkoken going hard, but they have to be melee as well?
I think like somebody just said in chat, like if you do triple fire maneuver Arcaballista, it can do like near cap damage on certain mobs. And I think that the like skill chain properties between automaton skills and stringing pummel are actually pretty strong. So I think that there's like a lot of reasons to keep it on. And stringing pummel's not a bad weapon skill. It's actually pretty good.
I just feel like what you said is probably its best use case scenario, like mage pup. With like tank pup, typically you'll use the SU5, right? And then
the SU5 also does have like a 500% weapon skill damage bonus or something for automaton abilities.
Well, the other thing, I think,
you're really quiet, buddy. I was actually gonna try to sneak this into S tier because it does something really cool for the job. But you guys are really talking me out of it, and it's really harshing my buzz.
I was happy to put it in B tier.
In A tier? Is that what you said?
B.
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 Oh. Well, that's not
I think
S.
it's really good, and I don't know. I would be. I haven't tested it enough, but I want to see how Varga Pernikawa work with Puppet Master.
Well, I feel like Varga is the bridge between the two, where like Varga is probably on par with God Hands in terms of DPS, if not slightly worse, but then also gives your pet so much stat that it's kind of like worth having your pet frontline with you at the same time. You're not going to have the overheat or overload prevention, but it's pretty close in terms of output, as long as you're not spamming.
And you get the pet level. You get the pet level +2 energy.
That's what I mean. The pet level should be boosting your pet by so much. It might be like tanky as shit too, just because of that. I equate this weapon very similar to the Nirvana in terms of how it augments the job.
See, to me, this feels more like it augments the job similarly to Zona. Just because if it lets you...
I don't think it's so like Nirvana is an S for a summoner, but in the grand scheme, it's not an S weapon.
Okay.
Kinkonkin, I don't even think is an S for for a Puppet Master. I think it's like an A.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Can I just get really quick like accreditation here? When's the last time you used Kinkokin or played Puppet Master decks?
I'm talking from perception, and I never will play it.
No.
So, like, one thing about with it on is the aftermath with the occasionally attached stars. It happens for the automaton too. The automaton's skills, just like with Nirvana, being able to affect the physical blood packs and make them multi-attack.
That's interesting. So it sounds like Vire just gave me the reason to put it in S tier.
Yeah, that's huge.
No, that's kind of why I was putting it with Nirvana.
I agree. I think this changes, like Nirvana just gives damage though, right? Am I wrong in that? This lets you use your automaton in an entirely different way. Is how I'm seeing it from the outside looking in, from a person whose pup is level 53 and it will stay there.
It's a better weapon for pup than Nirvana is for summoner.
Okay.
But pup is a worse job than summoner in the grand
scheme. Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So S tier. Cool.
So make your Kinkonkin and then put it in storage is what Dex is saying.
Or just don't make it.
or you know, maybe you just haven't figured out how to play pup yet. You ever think about that?
It's a great point.
You got to give it a chance.
This guy.
Dex's like disdain for Puppet Master is like more than I would expect from him. You know, like I don't think I've heard Dex hate something more than he hates Pup.
In all seriousness, it's more of a meme. I don't really hate Pup. I just don't see a purpose in playing it.
Okay.
I remember when it came out and I was really into it. I thought it was a really fun job, and then I leveled it to 20 and never touched it again.
20.
Yeah.
I did a ton of Grounds of Valor soloing on Puppet Master to get to 75 back in the day. I had a 75 Puppet Master, and my greatest achievement ever on Puppet Master was being in a Half-Loud Thickets leveling party, and the paladin stopped and was like, "Hold on a second. Why is this Puppet Master's automaton out damaging our ranger?" And I was like, "Yes!" And that was my peak. I never got better than that.
Going back to what I was saying
and
about
then your ranger figured out their gear swap, and it never happened.
Yeah. Rip the ranger. But going back to the comparison I was making with summoner, I think it's a stronger weapon in terms of what it does, but summoner doesn't really have alternatives, whereas Pup has a lot of alternatives. If you want to prevent your overload, there's a weapon that you can macro in to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could do, but if you want to wipe your TP every time you do a maneuver, which is like imagine being like, well, you don't really need to do anything with rune enchantment on Rune Fencer because you can just do a macro swap on your greatsword and wipe your TP every 3 seconds. Like that, you're not practically.
That's a really
but
good
also,
point, Heghmoh. You should do that and just swap out the Rune Fencer greatsword. Who cares?
I would say
Yeah.
majority of the time when people are playing pup, they're playing solo, and majority of pup solos, you just let the pet do all the work. You're not fighting alongside it. There are exceptions
I
to
would
that.
disagree with that.
I think it depends on what you're soloing, right? Like
Say
in
most ambuscades, you're not fighting with your pup. I'd say there's a lot of fights where you just let the pup do the work.
yeah.
I
The-
think like there's a lot of instances like ambuscades and stuff like that where you would let the puppet master just kill it. But I think a lot of people that play puppet master are soloing, but they're using it to solo everyday stuff, and they are actively fighting.
Mm. Cool. So I
I
got
think
Kinkoken on B tier.
I do think it's a B tier weapon.
Yeah.
Right
You disagree
above
with that,
Nirvana.
Heghmoh? Right above Nirvana. Okay. Let me move it above Nirvana. Let me move, and while I'm at it, let me move everything else on that list above Nirvana too.
Are you only allowed to have one animal resting on you at once? Like,
well,
you got
okay, so you gotta understand the puppy does not understand boundaries with the cat. So the cat does not like the puppy. And he has not learned boundaries. And my other, the second dog also harasses the cat. So cat doesn't like him. So cat normally comes around when he's sleeping. And unfortunately, he doesn't want to sleep through the whole podcast. So I'm having to try to run around and wrangle him while we're having this discussion. But moving on, dude, he's a monster. He's a terrible, terrible monster. Look into the eyes, and you'll see the eyes of a devil. We're on to
Terpsichore.
Yeah, Terpsichore or Terpsichore or however you want to pronounce it. This is the Dancer Dagger, and while you do that, I'm gonna take the dog out. So have fun, boys.
Who let the dogs out?
I think Terpsichore is like one of those that had its heyday. When there was a time when it was like crazy amazing for a dancer because of like how steps worked and how it augments steps and all the other stuff. But I think it's largely been replaced by other options at this point.
I don't think the step accuracy is relevant. Giving one extra finishing move is nice and all, but with Presto, I don't really see how important that could be.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me that you would use Terpsichore for like healing, since you're sacrificing your good damage weapon for the Terpsichore. You're kind of taking like a backline role, and you use all those steps to give yourself free reverse flourish TP and focus on healing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that, but I don't see that being reasonable. I'd rather my dancer just like do better damage and heal when they need to.
Yeah.
Damn,
job. Oh, go ahead, Vire.
I haven't heard very much about it at all. Almost no one seems to make it anymore. I think it's definitely been a victim of how 11's changed over the years.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
in my tentative list, I had this at the bottom of C, and I could be argued to put it in D.
I mean, I would say bottom of C is probably appropriate. I think the weapon skill's decent. I think that like the use for steps is if you're like hardcore into dancer, like that's a novelty, or that's an augment to steps that doesn't exist otherwise. Like there's nothing else in the game that does that.
But it's not really a good augment, is my argument.
Yeah.
Like getting one extra finishing move is kind of irrelevant when you can get 5 and then 5 and cap yourself with Presto.
Yeah, but like Presto is what, like a multi-minute cooldown, right?
No, 15 seconds.
Oh, is it really that short? Never mind.
Yeah.
Fine.
Presto.
When the bard starts singing the buff, you use Presto. By the time the bard sings the buffs and the monsters pulled, you get presto immediately after you put 5 box steps on the monster. So you just get to
Yeah.
put 10 box steps onto the monster. Start a fight. Very nice. Super good ability.
Yeah, then in that
You only
case,
get
like,
one
it doesn't really
finishing
add too
move,
much.
though, is the argument, right? Like, you're capping out the step, but you're still only getting 2 finishing moves, whereas
Mm.
Terpsichore, you're not capping the step, but you're getting more finishing moves. I just don't see that being more relevant,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I'd rather cap the step out and just do steps periodically for more finishing moves if I needed them.
If they broke out the flourish categories and let you use every single flourish instead of tying them all into all the flourish threes share the same cooldown and all the flourish twos share the same cooldown. Like if they broke them out and let you use all of them, it might have a better place, but they haven't, and I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah. Also, I kind of have pushback on what you said, Heghmoh, and that Pyrocleos is kind of a decent weapon skill. Is it? It feels like a worse evisceration.
It might. I don't know. I feel like there was one dancer that I used to play with that was like big would say that it was good, but I've never used it myself, so I can't really say.
It's 5 hits, inflicts evasion down, distortion property, and it has a strength and dex modifier. You can actually, with the Terpsichore, you can actually get the weapon skill average on it to be almost as high as Rudra's with Twashtar.
Really?
But the downside of that is you have to be using Terpsichore, and also it doesn't have as good skill chain properties. There's no occasionally deals triple damage. Like it has issues.
Yeah, I think it's
10
just
evasion
another
down
one of
is
those
not.
weapons. I think it's one of those weapons again that like was really good at some point, and then it just kind of fell off.
It tries to be the Tizona for Dancer, but fails. It's really sad.
I feel like when it came out, when Dancer was younger and didn't have as many options, like this was probably amazing.
Well, also like Presto's a 77 job ability, so like 75 era the double finishing moves would have been crazy good, but
I think it should go at the top of D tier.
top of D.
That makes me sad, but I'll allow it.
I spoke passionately about the Great Katana, and I think
And you think you'd like
similar
to
to
you'd like to bring him down by putting Terpsichore over the Great Katana?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, you did.
It's done. It's done, and there's no stopping us.
in realistic terms, it's probably worse. It just thematically seems better. I don't know.
all I know is that Tupsamati is next, the Scholar Staff.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna put that
Tupsamati.
one place above Nirvana, and we'll call it a day. That's the last mythic of
Tupsamati.
the Urgons.
Can you tell me why this weapon's good?
It's not,
In any way?
but I like it, and it looks cool. I like Scholar, so I like Tupsamati, even though I don't have one. It looks
But
cool.
what does the weapon do?
I think it's like a Mergleus -1. It's magic accuracy.
But it's
and
low.
huh?
It has probably, just looking at it, it has the worst, like the least interesting like job specific augment to it.
Yeah.
Oh, same
Like
elemental magic is -20 enmity.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you do elemental magic that matches the weather, then you have enmity -20 on the cast. And like meanwhile, blue's getting infinite MP. And like you know what I mean? Like they could have done something a lot more imaginative, but
Yeah.
You explain the concept of omniscience. Like, how much science is that?
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot of science.
It's science everywhere all at once.
Yep. That's exactly it.
lowers the target's magic attack.
Yeah.
Probably
That's
a
really,
really
really
situation.
potent.
Mab -10.
I'm
is the
really,
effect.
really struggling to have my enemies, hit me so hard. I need them to get lowered a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I at one point wanted to make this because I thought it was like nobody had it, but there's like arguably a dozen other options that would be
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Only a dozen?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me sad.
Okay, so we
Um,
hold on before I know we moved on, but we do have input. Pyrrhic Kleos is a very good weapon skill in theory. It has the highest theoretical DPS when you can't use Centovente. By theoretical, I mean it requires so much PDL and weapon skill gear that realistically you won't be able to reach that much attack against tough stuff. Okay, so if you could hypothetically add imaginary gear, Pyrrhic would become the best weapon skill.
that sounds
Does that make
like the
sense?
spreadsheet people on Auction House that like
Yeah.
argue against the Prime Codex and stuff like that. That's
Mm.
what that sounds like.
Well,
to
to
me.
that
Yeah.
viewer, I look forward to redoing the list in 2030 with new gear and discussing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tube Samadhi, unfortunately, breaks my heart to do this. I think it goes in D.
It sure does. It's poopy butthole.
I think we should put it at least above Glonsfoss, though.
Oh,
That
everything
was-
goes slightly
okay.
above Clon.
Okay, thank God. I was scared there.
I mean, but like I would argue that like Glonsfoss has it looks cool.
Tube Samadhi
And
looks cool too.
Glonsfoss
Fuck you.
does
No,
it?
it doesn't.
I think it does.
Okay, we need there's two
Probably
checks.
Yeah.
There's two checks on this that we have to confirm. One, does Tube Samadhi look cool? It kind of looks like a lame.
I think it
monster
looks
birdhouse on
better than the Relic and Prime staffs. So,
It's a birdhouse.
Oh, true.
because the
I'd
Relic
agree
and
with
Prime
that. It
staffs look like
does.
shit.
How does it look in comparison to Academos, which is kind of a similar vibe? And arguably has a better scholar flavor to it.
It's a great question.
Now, the second question is, what is the lore on this? In Mesopotamian mythology, the Tube Samadhi was a tablet of destinies, a clay tablet inscribed with cuneiform writing, also impressed with cylinder seals, which as a permanent legal document conferred upon the god Enlil his supreme authority as ruler of the universe. That is pretty cool. So we can put it above Glonsfoss. That's fine.
All right. Perfect. Moving on. We only have two more. We're into the Urggon weapons now.
Everyone's favorite surfboard.
Yeah. Well, Idris is first.
Oh,
So Idris. Idris is kind of cool looking. I actually like the Idris model. They did a pretty good job on that.
it makes well, this is worth mentioning.
Mhm.
Both all these mythics that we've talked about, they make you glow blue, but these two
Mhm.
weapons, they make you get stinky green cloud.
There you
Like
go.
you farted.
Yikes.
Who wants to glow stinky green?
I think that Idris's closest comparison on this list is Death Penalty. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That's tough.
I think
Idris.
it's a good weapon. I think it mostly increases damage. Obviously, in this case, it increases geomancy potency in general, but mostly it just increases damage. And I think you can do basically all content without it just fine. Except for the only time like I would be like, yeah, you need an Idris is like V25 Ongo.
Isn't it's very similar to Corsair in that Corsair's rolls are augmented a flat number by your highest potency. It's not cumulative. So you either get the Regal Neck or the +8 from the Rostam. Idris is the highest at 10 Geomancy plus. The second best is the Neck at +7. Is that correct?
Yep.
So that's a bigger leap.
It is.
I think it's such a big leap that it's definitely worth holding it in higher regard than the Corsair argument. I don't think anything comes close to it.
But you also
definitely
gotta factor in how much geomancy is nerfed when in like everything. So I mean the 3%
So it's probably
that you get is
equivalent.
probably lower than the 1% or one phantom roll from Rostam if you consider that half of the content is at least 50% geomancy nerfed.
I would also say that like if you're a geomancer and this is the only Rima to make. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's not
Yeah. There's
really
no
any other
other
thing to do.
Yeah, there's no
to
competition
go
for
for.
this.
Yeah.
For
I just think
Geomancer.
if you're comparing it to death penalty in this weird argument, like it just does so much more.
I just
Yeah.
think it basically does the same thing because like death penalty, I think it's a little overrated, and I think overall all it does is increase damage a bit. It like obviously it increases damage or like decreases or whatever, it lowers magic evasion for enemies, blah blah blah. Like there's more like ways that it's applicable, but at the end of the day, death penalty increases lead and salute damage a little bit. Idris does the same for your geomancy a little bit.
I see where you're going, but I don't really agree with the
Okay.
comparison.
Okay. That's fair.
I think I'm trying to find a more apt comparison. Like I don't know if there is a more apt comparison
I don't think there is.
in the
damage slightly. So like, you know, death penalty doesn't do that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for like how it like can give you an increase to anything that Geomancy does. So like, a stat bonus or a a defense increase or something like that. I think that there's a variety of things. I think
What?
that, like the Idris is so strong that they had to nerf the job entirely because of it multiple times is a good point.
Right.
It's also one of the coolest lock styles clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I don't know. There's also like the pet DT and stuff on it. That's good. But I'll be
True.
honest with you, like 95% of the geomancers that I know, because geomancer is going the way of bard, where geomancers are meleeing more and more, are not taking advantage of that stuff.
True.
So like the +2 neck is doing most of the work when it comes to like bubble
Yeah.
DT and stuff like that. And it's perfectly fine. And then you macro in Idris for
Well,
bubbles.
you can max out your pet DT without the Idris. You just kind of have to dedicate your entire armor set to it.
Right.
The
Right.
Idris allows you to be more frugal with your pet DT and include more stuff focused on yourself.
Yeah, but the need for the pet DT is not as important as it once was, I think. Like I literally the only pet DT I have in for most of my geomancy stuff these days is the neck. And then I'm meleeing and building the rest of the set around meleeing with the club.
And I wholly like applaud any geomancer that's meleeing with a club. That's so fucking cool. So like,
Oh, that's the way to do
if
it,
that
bud.
means
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I feel like that geomancy really has become the new bard, where in most content, especially in sortie, if you're doing a melee method, you're expected to be meleeing at this point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the thing about Geo is like its buffs put it in a position where it's always on top of the mob anyway.
Yeah.
So it's in a great position to whip out its club and at no detriment to its buffs or debuffs.
Yeah, have y'all seen some Dagdan action? The Geomancer in my sortie static has a stage 4
Yeah,
club now.
Dagda's great.
Dagda's very good.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a stage 5 Lorkmore, and it's very frequent to see like 60 to 80k Dagdas on basement bosses and stuff like that.
I've seen a
It's
few
good-
99s. It's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I know this is a very skewed, not good representation of damage, and I get called out for it all the time. But like the first time I took Dagda out, I was a stage 4 Dagda. I was like just memeing around, and I was testing another weapon in King Rampier's Tomb. And I was like, oh yeah, I got the club too. Well, we have all our buffs rolling. Let's see what it does. And our white mage did his very first Dagda with Lorgmore, and it did like 85k, and I was like, did I read that wrong? Like what the hell was that? It's like shockingly strong.
I know this is an aside, but like Dagda is essentially in my mind a better judgment, and the weapon itself just has better base stats, which allows it to do so much damage. It has better attributes and higher base damage.
Yeah. So while we're on the topic, Dagda or Lorgmore should go in S tier.
Yeah. Lorgmore S tier.
I recall rating Lorgmore higher than other people.
Yeah. Idris. So Idris, what
As
are
far
we
as
saying?
Idris goes, I think Idris, like, for all the faults that Myth is trying to give it, I think it's still an S tier weapon.
I think it's
Yeah.
A tier. I think it does as much for Geomancer as Bird Gang does for Paladin or Yagrish does for White Mage.
Fair.
Because like the whole reason that I argued for the stuff that is an A tier and is not an S tier is because I can't think of a single thing that you cannot do without Idris outside of V25 Ongo.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, I would put it if it's not S, I would put it very, very top of A.
Yeah, it's the best of
and
those options for that job.
My
I'll give you
argument
that.
is I agree with you on that take, but my argument is that both the Urggon weapons get a permanent debuff in my mind, because even after a quest reduction, it still takes 4 months to do it, and that deserves to be rated a little bit lower.
Yeah.
In the same vein, though, like, there is a time gate, but the amount of work is less than a Mythic.
Mm.
And then once you make one, the second one is almost free.
Yeah.
So it's a weird situation. It's not the same kind of grind as a Mythic.
Yeah. I think
they've also made it so much easier, like you were saying.
Yeah. To sum it up, I think Idris is great. I don't think it does as much for Geomancer as Tizona does for Blue Mage, which is my reasoning for.
I was never gonna put it above
Tizona. Yeah, no, for sure. I just don't think it's on the same. But moving on to our very last one, we've made it. It is Epiolatry. What do you guys think about Epiolatry? I hear Shira is just not a big fan of it. He says you can tank everything with A tier, and there's no reason to ever get it.
So A tier and A tier, and EPO in B tier.
There we go.
Trust don't really even need a buff. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
EPO, I think EPO does exactly what Bird Gang does for Paladin for Rune Fencer. Almost.
Yeah,
well, without the enmity, but with Liment instead of Atonement.
Well, it has flat enmity on it as well, which is very potent.
For sure.
Its weapon skill doesn't give them stacks of enmity, but like you said, Liment is stronger and gives more enmity when used.
Yeah, Liment is huge when it's AoE. It's really nice.
But the DT itself is just so much more potent. Like, even Paladin doesn't get PDT 225.
Yeah.
Also, the weapon skill is strong as shit. Like, it's probably the best greatsword weapon skill now that Resolution is not in a good spot anymore.
Not true. It loses quite handily to Fimble Vetter.
Jesus. Okay. Of course it does.
True.
But
well, yeah, when you go that's how I mastered my rune, by the way, with Fimble Vetter and Asura harness.
Oh yeah.
And
oh hell yeah. Too bad rune's not on Coward Bulb.
I did a 94k Fimble Vetter on Rune Fencer without being mastered.
Oh,
How much would your dimidiations do?
What?
How much would your dimidiations do?
It was like 48k.
Now, Fimble's really strong. Fimble can do cap damage usually with warrior and in buffs and stuff. So
considering
it's a really good weapon skill.
I wasn't considering my statement, and you're definitely not wrong.
Yeah.
But as a Rune Fencer, I don't see a world where I would equip the Prime to do damage while tanking.
Oh no, yeah, it's dumb. You would never use it,
like
unless you're being a DD rune. Which why are you a DD rune?
Yeah, I'm very complacent doing 20 to 30k less damage per weapon skill, while still just being uber tanky.
I say this is high A. High A. My question is it above or below Idris?
I think it's below Idris and right next to Birking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like Birking's old younger brother.
I think it's above Birking.
I'll accept that. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Like, for what it does for the job. Like, Birking, like, you're a little bit more tanky, but EPO is like, I'm super tanky and I need the defense.
Yeah.
I'm more of a diva job.
Yeah. I can see that. I did feel much sturdier on Rune Fencer once I got Epio. Where Paladin, I felt the difference with the Bird Gang, but I wasn't like it wasn't unlocking any content for me.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think with both of these weapons though, the downside is, like I said, like you are required to make them. And it takes months to do. Even if they've reduced the time recently, it's still like a
Yeah,
4-month process.
it's a
And it's
miserable.
like if you want to be a Rune or a Geo, you have to make Idris and Epio to be like super
You
competitive.
get a nice zoom in on Myth.
Oh boy. Yeah. So go make your mythics and go make your
Urggons.
Yeah, your Urggons.
I feel like the two Urggons were I don't know why, but extremely power crap. Like they're so powerful compared to most other weapons in the game in terms of like they have so much things going for them.
Yeah.
That you're totally right that anyone who plays either job will kind of be funneled into making those weapons. And it
Yeah,
sucks.
I think that they made them specific like that. My guess has always been that like when they added Geo and Rune Fencer to the game, they were like, well, we need to give him an ultimate weapon. Let's give him something that's like on the mythic track and it really augments that job. And somebody on the dev team was like, oh, do we give them a relic and an Empyrean and a mythic too? And they're like, man, that's a lot of work. Let's just make the Urggon one super special. Like I think that was like the justification was like they're adding them late. They don't have anything else in the same like in the Rima category, so let's just make them really strong.
Why couldn't they just put, them on the older weapons? Like put the friggin' Rune Fencer on Khalidbolg
I don't know.
It's a great
Who
question.
and
knows?
Ragnarok.
Maybe because like if they did like maybe they felt like if they did that, then like you hit 75 or 99 Rune Fencer, and immediately if you played Dark Knight have your Khalidbolg queued up, and like they didn't want that.
I mean, I could make the same argument for all the jobs that came out
Yeah.
later, like Mage, like Dancer. They just
Look,
didn't
I think maybe us trying to assume how Square Enix thinks is like the worst thing to do, because I still don't get any of the decisions they make. But cool.
Yeah. That's all I have for the mythics, guys.
This is a very balanced list.
Yeah. Does anybody have any complaints or want to move anything around? Because this is your last chance to suggest.
I think Conqueror can probably drop.
Think Conqueror can drop? Well, if Conqueror drops, then
top
Mergleus has to drop, and then Vajra has to drop.
Yeah,
and then
maybe leave it there. It's too much disruption.
Yeah.
Put all of C into D, all of B into C.
Yeah, I feel bad for placing any mythic below B, just because they're such cool weapons. Like even if they're not in terms of the meta good, they're very unique, really fun. Like it's just they're good weapons.
I think I said it best earlier in that mythics are like a tier above every other Rima. If you were to put all the other Rimas on the same tier list.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're super unique because because of how they work. I will just say, like, I wish if Square Enix really does at all listen to twitch.tv/Heghmoh's expertise on anything. We think that either there's some sort of like prophetic nature to how I view things, or Square Enix might take my takes as like little tips and sprinkle them back in, which is great. But can we please just take the time gating off of not like Einherjar and everything else?
Counter
Can we just
counter offer? I think they should add more time gates. Bring back the minimum 6 months to make any Rima. And go back to grassroots Final Fantasy 11. Like make it make 3 years to make a relic.
You want a 72-hour salvage lockout, you said.
Yeah, that's a no. God.
That was like it's from Skate.
Make the
honestly,
lamp cost million gil.
Yeah.
1K.
I think that if they could make one change, it would be like Einherjar lamps no longer exist, and it's literally just like a you go to
Party
the
enter.
entrance and you
Yeah.
enter with your party.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever gonna take 2 alliances in ever again. Please stop. Like,
Yeah. That's such an
I think
outdated.
I think a reasonable change would be to drop the timer from an hour to like 30 minutes and then add a campaign into rotation that makes it so that every time you do any wing of Inheriar, it gives you the same as Odin 2, which is like 3,500.
yeah. If they could
I think
like
there
take
should
the
be more
timer off, let you just go in. Maybe you have to go back and like get a lamp and to trade it, but it just takes your party in. I don't know. I think that like that is such a pain in the ass. And if they could figure out something to do with Nigel, that'd
I
be
think
awesome. But
Yeah,
I
just
think
get
no
rid of
one did
Nizul.
that Inheriar is like the big bottleneck for everybody.
Mhm.
It's just such a time sink.
and if I were
Yeah.
being really greedy, I would say that like when you get captain rank, once you have your captain wildcat badge, you should be able to just buy the finished books from the curio vendor Moogle.
Having to do the
I
assaults
don't want
twice
to
in a
ever
row
do
is
them
kind of
ever.
bullshit. Like
Yeah.
that is kind of bullshit.
I'd love that. That'd be crazy though.
Oh man, yeah.
It's like, yeah, you earned it. You earned the captain badge. Now just go do it again.
Okay, go do it again. Yeah.
Every time.
Mhm.
I agree with you that
I love assault.
I do Inheriar like piecemeal when I can, just for funsies, and then when I'm getting close, then I'm like, oh, I can make a new mythic. But every time I make a new mythic, doing the assaults is the biggest fucking pain in the ass.
Mhm.
It's the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah, assaults are terrible. I don't know.
Finding
I
that
still
stupid
think
fucking
Nizul
rank.
is the worst part.
Really?
I don't like Nizul though.
I think Nigel's the most chill part, personally.
I'll do
'cause
Einerjar 80 times before I do Nizul.
when you've like figured out Nizul and like you've got like, you know, your blue mage and you're AoE nuking everything down and you're getting like whatever ridiculous number of tokens every time you go.
You're
But
like 12.
if you're like me and trying to brute force it on warrior because you're dumb and like
Oh
and
no.
it takes like
Just take
it
your
takes,
doing that?
Beastmaster. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
it takes
Is
like
that what you
200
do?
runs to do it.
Just literally pull out
If I
Pondering
were doing
Peter
that,
on
I would do it,
Beastmaster
Yeah.
and just use fucking the AoE that Pondering Peter has. And it works out great. Beastmaster is like the ultimate like old content job. It's fucking great for that stuff. Or, you know, Black Mage or literally any mage that has an AoE
You have a
job.
black mage now, Heghmoh. You can just run around and
Yeah, just do a tier 1 gospel and everything will explode. That's assuming you
Gibble
have your
says
magic leveled up.
Gibble says
Yeah, I
Nigel's
do
12
because of
grinding.
red mage. Yeah.
Is that true? 10 hours of grinding for Nigel?
It's a lot. Like you get 10 to 12k a run and you need 150,000 tokens and it's half an hour a run.
Yeah.
So that's
I think in the interest of like making stuff, especially older content, more solo friendly, I would love to see them delete lamp floors and make it a solo entry.
We've all like glossed over the worst part. Like you get the quest, you hand in the vigil weapon, so you have to do Nigel already to get the vigil weapon.
Yeah.
You hand it in, you have the captain rank. Now I gotta get 30,000 Alexandrite. That sucks. They've added Alexandrite to the rewards pool that you can spend your points on from Besieged. So that helps a little bit. Very tiny bit. But mostly 90% of Alex is coming from Ambuscade, right?
Yeah.
You get all
That's
your
where I get
Alex.
mine.
That sucks. You get all your Inheritor tokens. That takes a long ass time. You get all your Nigel tokens. That's a pain in the butt. You do all your assaults over again. God forbid. Why doesn't it stop there?
Yeah, that's
why
the
would
part
it?
where like I do all of that stuff and I'm like, thank God I'm almost done.
My weapon's
and then,
done.
like,
You're like, oh, I
I'm
gotta
like,
go
oh wait,
freaking
ZNMs.
ZNM.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. Like second one, do you have to reacquire like redo getting the tiles from like the chariots and the Beastman Kings at all when you do a
No, you
second?
don't have to redo titles, but you do have. There is like a requirement to do like when you're augmenting. I think when you're doing trials for it, you have a chariot, or like one of the chariots you have to kill. I know that because I had to do it on. I did it for Gastrophides,
And that's a day
and
for some
and
reason.
I farmed the entire thing, and I never got a cell to allow me to equip a ranged weapon. So I had, and it's the one that's a 24-hour lockout.
Yep.
That happened to me too.
It
So it took
pissed
me
me
4
off
or
so
5
much.
days instead of 3.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Definitely.
There's a lot of things that they could do to ease that grind up. It doesn't need to be what it is.
Yeah.
It's quite antiquated.
Yeah, I think it's too long, and especially in the age of like they just reduced the Urggon weapon requirement, with like, stuff recharging a little bit faster. I think that Mythics deserve it too.
Look at his dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So on that vein, should they also redo the Empyrean process?
I've been trying to get them to do this for forever, and I'm going to keep saying it until somebody listens to me. Make eye level Abyssia. Eye level Abyssia, that's 1-to-1 Abyssia. Everything's just scaled up. It requires an alliance of, currently geared people, and everything drops 5x. That's the only change. So like you go in and you kill Chloris, and instead of 1 or 2 Chloris buds, it's 5 to 10.
What if
I mean, that'd be.
what
I
if they
just don't
gave
think
Abyssia the Limbus treatment, and they were like, "This is how you get your artifact +5,"
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you have to climb 25 Abyssia floors by killing trash mobs in every single one.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day you have to clear your you have to like max out your
tell me-
converter stone.
Yeah. See,
if
like
you tell me anything is going to get Limbus treatment again, I'm going to scream.
Ooh.
like we
Oh,
say,
yeah, maybe
we say
maybe
we
you
want a
get a
revamped
chest.
one, but it's gonna be like a half-assed.
You get a
fucking thing.
chest if you max out all of your lights. So you have to max out Pearl, Azure, Ebon, Silver, all golden. All of them have to be capped, and then you
Mhm.
can open one chest, and you have to do that 5 times a week in every Abyssia zone.
Yeah, and you have to zone out every time you finish a chest and
Yeah.
remax them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Love little Abyssia, like Heghmoh scribes. If they changed all the monsters to give Exemplar, you got Exemplar
yeah.
blue chests like you do could right now. You can do full.
That would be
again. That'd be fine. With it.
honestly, I love that idea. Just make it an exemplar farm. And you have your exemplar key parties where you're killing worms to open chests to get exemplar points. Just make it Abyssia again. Exactly what it was before, but now it's for exemplar and doing stuff a little bit faster.
Great. Guys, it is 3:30. We've been going for 3.5 hours. Dex has an appointment in half an hour.
Yep.
To celebrate his birthday. So I'm gonna call
Nice.
it a hard stop there. Thanks everybody for coming
Okay.
on. Thank you, Vire, for coming and hanging out with me. Dex, happy birthday. Have a
Happy
great
birthday,
time.
Dex.
Happy birthday,
And
Dex.
we will see everybody next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to the show.